With that, I'm going to come down and we're going to sign a very important document and we're going to be on our way. People have wanted to do this for many, many years, for many, many decades. And I don't know, no president ever got around to doing it, but I'm getting around to doing it. So thank you very much.
Multiple Teslas on fire in what police are calling a targeted attack. Police found at least 5 Teslas burned or shot out with guns. This happening at a Tesla facility in Las Vegas. The incident follows a string of protests and violence targeting Tesla across the country over Tesla CEO Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency.
So Candace Owens, at the time she met him, acknowledged that she was aware that he was a pimp in Romania. Vivian is his first victim ever. It has now been confirmed that he sex trafficked her as a minor. Just from that victim alone, he made $1.5 million. One of the young women describes that she was threatened with her pornography being released and that when she tried to leave, they hacked her Facebook account and put pornography on there and her whole family saw.
Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. It's Friday, which means we're going to bring you this week's headline news stories, one of which we have already covered. We had Barry Jones on with us this week.
Yeah.
The JFK files have been released, at least a good chunk of them.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of things in there that confirm the suspicions that many who have done the research, like Barry Jones and so many others, have looked into and kind of came to a conclusion on. And a lot of these things kind of confirm that. If you want more, you're just going to have to watch the interview. But I do want to just lead off with saying I am impressed that they were released and they were released unredacted. Also this week, we've got SpaceX astronauts that have landed safely on Earth.
Well, they weren't actually SpaceX astronauts. SpaceX went to rescue them.
Right. That's what I'm sorry. Excuse me. SpaceX went to rescue them and they're now back safe and sound, which has some people questioning how, and forgive me for not knowing her name, the female astronaut who landed with her hair did. Mm. She's got all this gray hair. You know, every time they're like talking to her and then she lands and her hair's like all perfectly done and darkened, which is a little bit interesting. So some are questioning, I'm not sure what's really going on here, but you know, whatever. But we do have a really cool clip of the male astronaut. Again, I'm so sorry, I don't know his name. And we're going to play it. I didn't put it in the intro today, of him thanking God and his Savior Jesus Christ and giving all glory to God. And like, essentially like, listen, this was before they were going to make their descent. And you know, it's dangerous. You could die. Right? Upon re-entry. It's not, mankind's not meant to do this thing. And he's like, I ain't scared. I got Jesus. That sums it up. Also, the biggest news of this week is Trump has signed with his pen in his phone, executive order disbanding the Department of Education. Now, it's really interesting because, what's his name? I think Nick Furtis, whatever. I was watching an Instagram from him and he explained that it's not so much a disbanding of the Department of Education the way that we would think. He's like, it's going to get recycled into other places. Like all of these things that happen within the Department of Education that still need to happen, or they're just going to happen in different departments. So we're going to break that down and talk about that as well. And then we've got, of course, Elon Musk's Tesla on fire. And Elon Musk eating it up. Like he is loving it. Nothing better could have happened.
That's so true.
To Elon Musk than to have his Teslas. This Tesla's on fire. It's so good for him because Tesla's actual business is kind of in the tanks. Mm-hmm. It's not going so great for Elon. So what you're going to have and what you are having is you've got all of these rich mega people. Not that every mega person is rich, but you've got rich mega people that are now going to go, oh, I love that Elon guy. Honey, let's go buy a Tesla. Let's help this man out. His Teslas are burning. And if these people don't want his Teslas and Donald Trump just got a new Tesla, honey, we're getting a new Tesla. Now, the rest of us can't afford a new Tesla, and we wouldn't want one even if we were given one, because I'm not going to drive a car that might actually spontaneously combust at any moment. Okay? Okay, pumpkin, it's kill people.
Well, you know what's so funny is that everybody says that it's the safest car on the road.
Excuse me? Mm-hmm. Okay, so what about the fact that it has killed people?
And the batteries can spontaneously combust.
You know those in Florida during the Hurricane Helene, by the way. Mm-hmm. These Teslas that were in people's garage and the salt waters caused these things to catch fire. Mm-hmm. Like, not okay. Nobody wants your daggum Tesla, Elon. Listen to me. Nobody wants your Tesla, Elon. So we got that. And then, of course, Leah was listening to this, I think last night or the night before. Lila Rose interviews one of the lawyers for one of the victims from Andrew Tate. It's a phenomenal interview. Like, if you get a chance, go and watch the whole thing. But we're going to cover some of it. And she breaks down kind of for the final stance. Like, listen, this guy has been accused by governments, by prosecutors of these crimes that he has patently lied about to Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. Okay, so we're going to play a little bit of that as well. And before we move on to anything, get ready for Monday night. Monday night, we're going to have on with us the one and the only and the absolutely eloquent and elegant and spectacular 93-year-old G. Edward Griffin. We did our interview with him yesterday right here in the studio, and that's going to air on The Outliers on Monday night. You guys will love it. We walked away from that interview just, walking on clouds, because he puts everything that's going on, especially in the financial realm, but also just in general, so perfectly and concisely. It's like it's listening to one of the greats. When I think about like Einstein, he's actually just outside of my lifetime. I always, when I think of him, because he's one of the greats, he has to be from the 17th or 18th centuries, right? He could not have been in the 20th century. Like, that's not even possible, right? You know what I mean? Because he's Einstein. Well, that's kind of how I feel about G. Edward Griffin. And I'm kind of in awe. Like, I feel like I'm interviewing Einstein, like one of the greats. Now you can talk to me about him being, a communist and whatever with Einstein. Okay. I'm just using an example of somebody that was in the 20th century when I was alive. And here we have G. Edward Griffin, one of the greatest minds that has ever lived, and coexisted in our lifetime. Right. And we have the opportunity to have him on our show for the third time, by the way. So that's going to happen on Monday night. So we're going to have a great show tonight, gearing up for, honestly, I've been waiting for the Department of Education to be disbanded for a long time. Disbanded. Yeah, that too. So, but I'm not sure how I feel about how it's being done. But you know what? This one, I'm happy about. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Having a pen and a phone just to make something happen. But you're right. They are just spreading it out. But before we get into that, do you have my tabs up?
Not yet.
Well, this particular snippet that I'm going to share with you has actually been around for a while, but every time JFK gets brought up, new things come to light. So you need to watch our interview with Barry Jones, who is a consummate JFK historian, and several things were confirmed, that meaning that basically the big one was Jack Ruby was part of the mafia. Jack Ruby being
which
the one
we
who
all
killed.
knew that, by the way, but they hid it. And why did they hide it?
Yeah. The JFK's assassin. But this particular clip is going to be odd. Do you have them up?
I'm frozen, so give me 1 second.
Okay. The rabbit holes keep going deeper when you look at, as G. Edward Griffin says, the collective. And there are powers that be that make things happen. Okay? And by making things happen, you put people in. George Bush Sr. was head of the
CIA.
He became head of the CIA, but he was was he part of the CIA or FBI during the assassination? And he says that he doesn't recall where he was, but he made a phone call to either, and forgive me because I'm not the consummate JFK historian, to either the FBI or to the CIA the day he was shot. So of course he knows exactly where he was. He was in Dallas, Texas. But was Jackie Kennedy actually part of the plot around Kennedy? This phone call is real, and it is the theory that Barry Johnson has put forward. Barry Jones has put forward is that the same one that Roger Stone's put forward is that it was LBJ that really wanted Kennedy killed. And there's a lot of information around that. You have to watch our video. Well, LBJ reached out to Jackie Kennedy to console her in this oddly jovial call that was recorded within a month of her husband's brain being blown off into her lap. Johnson can be heard telling Jackie he wanted to visit her and spank her around Christmas time.
What?
Yes.
Okay, that's weird. All right, let's go here.
Hello?
Hello?
Jackie?
Mr. President?
I love you.
Oh, too sweet. Where are you?
You just skipped away from this town. I ought to have had you arrested.
But I was so mad at myself.
Yeah, well, you ought to be mad. You almost made me mad at you leaving without coming by and hugging me and telling me goodbye.
Yeah, but did you get my note?
Yes, I did. And
I talked to Ladybird. I felt so stupid.
Well, I miss you, and I'm thinking of you, and I know your Christmas won't be what it ought to be, but I wish that I could make it happier. When I got ready to go to home for my Christmas, the Congress just said they'd spank me and hit me right in the face and wouldn't let me go, and that's the way I want to do you next time if you don't tell me goodbye.
Oh, listen, as soon as you get back, I'll come and get a vitamin B shot from Dr. Trevell.
Won't you do that? Won't you do that?
Yeah.
Thank you, honey.
Yeah.
Bye.
Heck, what's the vitamin B shot mean?
Huh?
What the heck?
Sounded
like they were definitely speaking in code.
Right?
Like, did you get my note? I felt so bad. I felt so stupid.
Why did she feel stupid?
Why did she feel bad?
What was that?
Why did she feel so stupid? That's like coy. Sound like flirting. Like a lot of flirting. You gotta, the Congress said they're gonna spank me, and that's what I'm gonna do to you next time you don't give me a hug. I'm gonna spank you.
Leah?
Well, I'm gonna come by. Next time I'm in town, I'm gonna go to Dr. Something, gonna get me a vitamin B shot. Well, you better. What the heck?
What is that?
Who's the doctor giving the vitamin B shots? I want to know what vitamin B shot means. It's like some sort of Egyptian hieroglyphic, okay? Somebody has to find out what vitamin B shot means.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's a code for something. No, ain't nobody say, hey, all right, well, I promise you next time I'll come and get you a vitamin B shot. Well, you better. You promised. What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on around here?
Oh, my
Sounds like, it's possible that if she was part of the inside. Somebody says, no, Jackie was simply part of the plan, not his handler. She was way too busy and too often absent to be his handler. She didn't kill him. She didn't set him up. She was threatened by LBJ on a recorded phone line around Christmas after the assassination. It's a public recording. LBJ exerts extreme pressure on her to go visit him. Oh, yeah, we're watching that.
I don't even know. Sherry says that's weird. It is weird. I don't even know what to say.
Well, a man like that, how in the world can he be president? He doesn't sound very intelligent.
Well, I don't know. Like, it's men like that make me believe that the patriarchy exists, and like, you know what I mean? Like, just calling her honey, and she sounds so stupid. I just am so dumb, and you're just so smart. And he just calls her honey like she's a little child. It's weird. I got nothing. I don't even know what that was.
All right. Well, moving on. The Department of Education.
You're gonna jump right into that?
Yeah, as
Okay.
expected. Trump is he held an event Thursday afternoon at the White House centered on his plans to overhaul the education department. He actually had kids with school desks, and they were
felt like that was a little weird.
Little set up as a prop. I mean, like,
we'll play the clip here for you guys to see. But he literally had, I'm guessing there like at least 20 kids behind school desks, and they all had like their own executive order type folders that they were
all
signing.
Supposed to be signing things. It's just really weird.
Who set that up? I felt like it was dumb, and what it did is it gave so much fodder to the left. Like literally, there are these headlines that say Trump ends Department of Education surrounded by kids. Like you handed that to them on a silver platter. It's dumb. Keep going.
All right. The White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt said all the critical functions of the Department of Education will remain. Ahead of Trump signing an executive order to dismantle the federal agency, the Department of Education will be much smaller than it is today. As you know, the president's executive order directed Linda McMahon to greatly minimize the agency. So when it comes to student loans and Pell Grants, those will still be run out of the Department of Education. The great responsibility of education our nation's students will return to the states. Any critical functions of the department will remain. So let's, I don't know if you've got the clip up.
Let me just play this one right here.
Well, that's one clip, but I don't know if that's the actual signing.
I will sign an executive order to begin eliminating the Federal Department of Education once and for all.
Look at the students.
And it sounds strange, doesn't it? Department of Education, we're going to eliminate it. And everybody knows it's right. And the Democrats know it's right, and I hope they're going to be voting for it because ultimately it may come before them. But everybody knows it's right, and we have to get our children educated. We're not doing well with the world of education in this country, and we haven't for a long time. And we're pleased to be joined today by the woman who I chose because she's an extraordinary person, and hopefully she will be our last Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon. Linda.
So I have this graph up. Department of Education, $3+ trillion spent since 1979. Imagine if that, here's the thing. If we believe that taxes are really collected and you pay for these things with your own dime, have we really gotten $3 trillion worth of education from this Department of Education since 1979? Total cost is the full cost of K through 12 education of a single student graduating in a given year. In 1970, it was $56,000. In 2010, it was $164,000.
Now they say in this graph, and this is important, they have adjusted that for inflation.
But this graph only goes to 2010.
No, I know, but I think that it's important to note on the adjusted for inflation, because you could say it was $57,000 in 1970. What they're saying is when they say adjusted for inflation, that the actual cost has gone up over $100,000 per student, regardless of the inflation. That's insane.
So employees have gone up, costs have gone up, and science, math, reading have all gone down. All down. It's all gone down. Down. If you go to the next one, you have some liberals who are protesting. It's embarrassing.
Elon Musk has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Elon Musk has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Elon Musk has got to go.
Hey, what does Elon have to do with the Department of Education?
Everything. It's Doge, baby. Elon Musk has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho.
What is the Department of Education doing for our children?
Hey, hey. Ho, ho.
Why
Am I going to be on the news?
Why do all of your eyes look like that?
Okay.
Am I going to be on?
No, you're not going to be. Well, you're on our news. It's embarrassing. And here's the thing. J. Griffin doesn't trust anything at all. And with this almost organized hatred of Elon Musk, he is a bad guy. Like, he is one of the bad guys, but now And I'm not going to be defending, like I have defended Trump. I will not be defending Elon Musk, even though we're on Twitter. Thomas Massie has introduced a bill to end the Department of Education in 2017, in 2019, 2021, 2023, and in 2025. So remember, remind our viewers that with the executive orders, without an act of Congress, it doesn't hang around.
You just did.
The next president. Well, that's how things work with executive orders.
So here's the very interesting spin on this. Trump is not happy with Thomas Massie right now. And it would be very interesting if Thomas Massie were to be the one, because he's already got the bill written, to reintroduce it and to have it go forward. And then Trump and Thomas Massie have to play nice again.
All right, here we have President Trump just announced he's moving programs from the Department of Education to other agencies. So student loans will going to the SBA, special needs to HHS.
Not the very next one?
No.
Okay.
I think it's the left.
Okay.
And the nutrition programs are going to HHS.
Why does the Department of Education need a nutrition program?
It just
I've decided that the SBA, the Small Business Administration, headed by Kelly Loeffler, is a terrific person, will handle all of the student loan portfolio. We have a portfolio that's very large, lots of loans, tens of thousands of loans, pretty complicated deal. And that's coming out of the Department of Education immediately, and it's going to be headed up by Kelly Loeffler at SBA, and they're all set for it. They're waiting for it. It'll be serviced much better than it has in the past. It's been a mess. And also Bobby Kennedy, the Health and Human Services, will be handling special needs and all of the nutrition programs and everything else. Rather complex, but that's going to be headed by and handled by Health and Human Services. So I think that'll work out very well. Those two elements will be taken out of the Department of Education, and then all we have to do is get the students to get guidance from the people that love them and cherish them, including their parents, by the way, who will be totally involved in their education, along with the boards and the governors and the states. And it's going to be a great situation.
So one of the things that Trump, that I had liked about Trump in the very beginning was he said he wanted to get education back into the hands of the parents. I don't know if this will actually help or not. I really don't.
So talking about school choice, right? You know, that would be getting the education back in the hands of the parents, sort of, still with government funds. What I am concerned about, not having really to do with the Department of Education, but I'm looking at, I think there's a couple of states that have bills on, like right now, that are being discussed that would, and I don't know if it's as a response of what Trump's doing with the Department of Education or not, but essentially take power from homeschool parents. It's very disturbing.
Did you want to talk about that? Because I'm still talking about this, but
no. I just as I'm thinking out loud,
thing,
unfortunately, we have a lot of things going on. I believe that things should be in the hands of the states, but if they are going to be in the hands of the states, we have to speak out. We have to stop this kind of government overreach. Which I think that they were probably going to go after homeschool parents in different states anyway, especially these lefty states. But I do find it kind of, not just kind of, very, very disturbing that it's kind of like with abortion, right? Let's be smarter than we were last time. You know, Trump loves to say that he put these Supreme Court justices in, and that overthrew Roe v. Wade. So we were all excited. Yes, abortion should go back to the states, yada, 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 yada. I believe that we should have a federal ban on abortion, just like we have a federal ban on murder, okay? That's not a state's issue. It's just a human rights issue. And it's constitutional, by the way, goes back to the Declaration of Independence, that you have the right to life. That's federal. So we should have a federal ban on abortion, okay? However, having it go back to the states, everyone was so excited. This is going to be so great. But now we are seeing this concerted effort by the left to go to each and every individual state, especially where they think that they can get it overturned, just like Ohio. And they did this with the constitutional amendment codifying abortion and all of these other really bad things like, transgender surgeries and stuff. So what I am predicting here is you're going to see a lot of these Illinois House Bill 2827, like Leah's got up and she'll tell you about it. We'll play a clip or something like that in a minute. I'm predicting that now that this is going back to the states, you're going to see the left just ramp up hard, not to help kids in public school systems, but to beat down the homeschoolers.
Illinois House Bill 2827, it's called the Homeschool Act. It would require parents to register kids with the school district if they choose to homeschool. Parents may be required to submit teaching materials and completed work to education authorities, and parents who fail to do this actually would be charged with a misdemeanor and go to jail.
Unbelievable.
So what they're saying is that parents would face jail time. Ohio actually 2 years ago made homeschooling less restrictive. You previously had to take a state standardized test once a year or have a certified teacher go over your materials and sign off on them. So never forget how much the Bolshevik Party hated homeschooling. That is all this Illinois law is, a century-old communist attack on parents' right to educate their children. I'll retweet this here. Christian homeschool father of 8, Dave Smith, and Illinois State Representative Chris Miller joins Fox News here to discuss this new draconian homeschool proposal. There are a lot of homeschool families in the State House, obviously. Don't mess with homeschool moms.
Well, it came to my attention because Punky was from Bard's. She was a part of a video that they did. I mean, she is fighting hard against this because they live in Illinois. And so she's really, really fighting against it. And she homeschools. I think she's got 3 or 4 kids.
Order just a short time from now abolishing the education department. Illinois parents are fighting to protect their rights from the bureaucrats. A new state bill could impose regulations over homeschooling families and even private and parochial schools. Joining us now is homeschooling father of 8, Dave Smith, and Illinois State Representative Chris Miller. Dave, I want to start with you first because you obviously will be directly impacted by this. You choose to homeschool your kids. They're now saying with this bill, they want your information and potentially they want control over what and how you're teaching your kids. What is your reaction to it?
Absolutely not. They have no authority. They have no right to come into my home and tell me and my wife how we should raise our children. You know, the sponsor of this bill, one of the reasons she gave for promoting or pushing this bill is because she believes some homeschooling parents aren't doing it the right way. But if you look at what the public schools are doing in Illinois, we have less than 32% of students who are proficient in English language arts. We only have 27% who are proficient in math. We spend $19,000 per student. By the way, if I spent that kind of money on my kids, they'd be like living it up big time. We spend about $2,000 a year on our kids. But they only get an 88% graduation rate, which means 228,000 students here in Illinois are falling through the cracks. And at the same time, 1 in 10 students are sexually exploited by an adult in the school system. So Sandra, they're failing our kids academically. They're failing to protect them physically, and they don't seem to care about protecting our daughters from confused men in their private spaces and in their sports.
I mean, Chris,
we have lots of good reasons.
Dave, you are an incredible father, and I don't think anybody doubts that who hears the passion in your voice for your 8 children, that you are trying to give the best education possible. And Chris, these parents like Dave are saying, wait, you want to take your failed public school model and bring that into my home? That is the problem and the issue so many of these parents are taking up. This was one of them. Nicole Georges joined us on this program. She has told us the story about the problems in the locker rooms in the public school, and Shannon Addick is a big advocate for these parents, both of them here.
What the scariest thing is, this sets such a dangerous precedent for girls everywhere by allowing men into safe spaces. The district needs to respect Title IX. There's federal protections that are in place.
You're right. This is a radical attack on homeschool, and it's just a simple attack on liberty. That's what we're dealing with here in the state of Illinois. These radical woke legislators in Pritzker on down, they are trying to dismantle liberty piece by piece.
You know, Chris, and you look at the Illinois student proficiency scores for reading, 39%, math, under 28%. To Dave's point, what the heck is going on in Illinois?
That's right.
Well, it's pretty amazing when you look at the landscape of all this. The educational industrial complex is in full attack mode because they don't like it when we have independent thought. And one thing about home educators, my wife and I home educated our 7 children also. So Dave's got me beat by one, but this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart because the government schools are an abject failure, and I think the last thing that they need is more to do. I would say that they probably need to sweep their own porch before they decide to try to come over and tyrannize the homeschoolers and the private schoolers into getting them into the same failed policies that they're involved in.
Well said, Chris. This is an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal headline, "The Never-Ending War on Homeschooling." Chris, Dave, I'll get your immediate thought on this. Kids don't belong to the government. They belong, if that's even the right word, to their families. The state exists to serve citizens, not to command their attendance in government schools. The left struggles with this. And so, Dave, I wonder how you're going to handle this. I mean, this did pass in that vote yesterday. We'll see where this goes next. But if you were demanded as a homeschooling parent to turn over all your private information, which apparently, as I read through that bill, includes your religious affiliation and more, are you going to turn it over? They're saying you'll go to jail for 30 days if you don't.
Well, first of all, we're going to fight this bill in the House and then in the Illinois Senate to try to stop it. And then we're hoping that the Homeschool Legal Defense Association will challenge it if it does get passed into the law. But I'll tell you what, Sandra, there are a lot of families like my own who will exit Illinois rather than submit to a tyrannical, godless government like Illinois.
Wow. Well, we certainly hope for the sake of the children in that state that they get things in order and figure this out because it's a bit of a mess.
That's right.
And the kids are what matter the most. And Chris and Dave, we appreciate you joining us. We will certainly, Dave will.
That's good. I love that. I love that sentiment. And, you know, not everybody has the opportunity to leave the state that they're in, unfortunately. But I really appreciated him as a father saying, no, I'll protect my kids at all costs. And no, I'm not going to allow this government overreach and tyranny to happen to me and my family. That's the stance that we ought to be taking across the board with all of these things, that we have to be able to stand and say, no, I will not comply, even if it comes to my door.
No, that's really good.
What a great dad.
Yeah. I love the homeschool he had. He was ready with his points.
I know he was. It was
so
great.
Here we have Reagan, before we were actually born here, saying that he wanted to get rid of the Department of Education. I guess it's been my whole life we've been fighting this.
Hang on, let me find the right clip. Let's see. Oh,
that's it.
There we go.
Reagan got a lot of things wrong, but I think he understood a little bit about the communist infiltration in schools.
I propose, and would have already started, if your hypothesis is correct, a planned and orderly transfer back to the states and local communities of functions the federal government has usurped and which it has proven it is incapable of operating. And one of the first of those would be welfare. One of the second would be in the field of education. I would like to dissolve the $10 billion National Department of Education created by President Carter and turn schools back to the local school districts where we built the greatest public school system the world has ever seen. I think I can make a case that the decline in the quality of public education began when federal aid became federal interference.
So I like the last part of that, when federal aid became federal interference. But the problem, Reagan, if I may be so bold, is the premise of starting off with that we have built one of the greatest public education systems in the world.
Yeah.
That would be fine if it was more like welfare in the sense that just poor people got it. Okay. But when it became compulsory, when you had to do it and you were forced to send your child to these government education camps, indoctrination camps, let's keep in mind that I want to say just like a few years, okay? And I know this for a fact because our neighbor, June Stickler, was one of the first to fight for the right to homeschool her daughter, Lisa. We grew up, she was our babysitter, okay? And she's only like 5 or 6 years older than Leah and I. And she fought and really paved the way for homeschooling here in Ohio. And I'm not that old, okay? So let's keep in mind here
that when Reagan is talking homeschooling, I don't even think it's
homeschooling
legal.
isn't even a thing.
Right, it's not even legal.
Right? And so we have to keep in mind here that from the late 1800s, specifically in the early 1900s, when the compulsory educations like started taking over America, that's when everything went haywire. Reagan,
they're smiling, but they're saying you have to.
Yeah,
you have to send your kids here. You don't have a choice.
Right.
Let's play this clip here with Glenn Beck.
It's hard to listen to Reagan with his little soft voice.
Mm-hmm.
Kayla was doing her homework on this. She said...
One of your producers, yeah.
Yeah, one of our producers. She said, have you read the Department of Education Organization Act? I'm like...
Oh, obviously.
Of course I have, but tell me what you found. Listen to this. It is the intention... This is the founding document passed by Congress. It is the intention of Congress in the establishment of the Department of Education to protect the rights of state and local governments and public and private educational institutions. Now, just that, are they operating within the law that was set by Congress?
Because I think you could convince me that that's a good idea.
Yeah, right.
Right? That
right,
sounds great.
Right. So let me read that again. The intention of Congress in the establishment of the Department of Education to protect the rights of state and local governments and public and private educational institutions in the area of educational policies and administration of programs, and to strengthen and improve the control of such governments and institutions over their own educational programs and policies. You hear the second half of that? To strengthen and improve the local and state administration and the control of their own educational programs and policies. That is not what the DOE is doing.
No.
Not even. Listen to the next line. The establishment of the Department of Education shall not increase the authority of the federal government over education or diminish the responsibility for education which is reserved to the states and the local school systems and other instrumentalities of the states. Oh, wait. This is not what the Department of Education is at all. So when they say, well, he can't abolish the Department of Ed, no, they abolished the Department of Ed. The Department of Ed isn't that.
Right.
You know, because like you just said, I wouldn't have necessarily a problem with that.
I'd have some questions, but
I wouldn't want it.
As a direction, protecting local rights over education is exactly kind of what I want.
Exactly right. B, no provision of a program administered by the secretary or any other officer of the department shall be construed to authorize the secretary or any such officer to exercise any direction, supervision, or control over the local curriculum, any program of instruction or administration or personnel of any educational institution, school, or school system, over any accrediting agency or association, or over the selection and content of library resources, textbooks, or other instructional materials by any educational institution or school system, except to the extent authorized by this law.
I mean, it seems there's all sorts of limitations on it.
Yeah. I mean, if you just go back to this, if he just reset it to this, do you know how many problems would go away?
Wow. Of course, I've never read any of that, and that was really fascinating. I'm sure none of you knew about that either.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to point out with that, right? All of that sounded fine. So let's also be cautious when we start to rejoice over things that when they're written, they sound great. Because any time that you are handing over power to the federal government, or more power to the federal government, or even your state governments, right? There's always, like, what that does is it almost just gives them this free, and they knew this at the time, just get it written and we'll do what we want. It doesn't matter what it says. It doesn't matter the limiting powers, right? And they do that over and over and over again. So that's why I'm like, I always mistrust when something like, you look at even the Department of Government Efficiency. I'm mistrustful of these types of things because it depends on whose hands it's in and what they turn it into.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Former U.S. Border Deputy Patrol Agent J.J. Carrell exposes that there are over 3,000 marijuana growers in Oklahoma, all run, get this, by Chinese national illegal aliens. Where are these Chinese in Oklahoma?
Over 3,000 marijuana grows in Oklahoma, all run by Chinese national illegal aliens. It's about a $40 billion a year business. And why is this important? Just like my former co-host said, this is important, JJ, because this is a cash crop. China doesn't have to finagle wire transfers and get ensnared in the financial transactions to buy weapons, ammunition, food, all that. No, they have billions of dollars of cash that they can use here in America with no transactions and do everything below the radar. And it makes sense when you begin to look at the totality of what has happened. For over three.
Okay, I had so much to say on this, Leah. Just give me a minute.
Inside the Chinese pot to destroy America from within.
Okay. First of all, I bought some hemp seed oil because I wanted to put it into my beard oil. I know if you guys you're tuning in, you don't know Michelle's working on a beard oil for the Resistance Chick store. Now you know. You're like, Michelle, do you have a beard? No, I don't. But I bought some hemp seed oil and it has to be refrigerated. So I'm actually not going to use it in the beard oil. I didn't realize that it was that kind of volatile as far as going, kind of rancid soon. So I decided not to do it. So I was doing some research today because now I can't return it. I have to keep it. And it's like, 32 ounces. So I'm like, okay, can we take this stuff internally? Is it good for us? Now, granted, I understand that hemp seed oil is supposedly grown from the marijuana causing, or not marijuana, but, getting high.
THC.
Thank you. But what it does is it brings to mind this. I have a very sensitive smeller. Okay. When I lost my sense of taste and smell, it was devastating for me because I'm used to just always having it. Now it's back now. Okay. And I have been noticing when I go out in public that I'm smelling something so, like, it'll just be random. I'm in my car, the windows are up, I'm at a stoplight, and I'm like, what is that smell? I pull into a parking lot, and I'm like, what is that smell? And the other day, Leah already knew what the smell was. Leah's like, oh, somebody's smoking pot again. I was like, wait, that's that smell? First of all, it doesn't smell like the marijuana that I smelled when I was a teenager. Second of all, it's everywhere. Like, I mean, everywhere I go, I'm smelling it. Like, everywhere I go, I'm smelling this, okay? And so I'm all for being able to have our hemp seed oil. I'm all for Vicky Natale's extreme terpenes, okay? Because this stuff is absolutely amazing. I'm all for the industrial hemp, not movement, but, where so many amazing things can be made from hemp, right? But this push for marijuana, and it's interesting because this goes back to, I want to say, the Red Pill Expo, where we ran into this guy. This goes 2017, and he is trying to convince Leah and I.
No, it was actually at the Joel Salatin event.
Is that what it was? Trying to convince us we have to have legalized marijuana. It's the libertarian thing, okay? Can we just rewind? everything that happens, that passes, almost every single thing is by an agenda, by people that are crooked. And so this right here confirms one of the reasons why deep down inside of my spirit, not just because every young man at Teen Challenge told us that they only started using hard drugs because they started smoking marijuana. 100% of them told us this, okay? 100%. They all said, I would not have gone to hard drugs if I didn't start with marijuana first. They all said it, okay? I'm against it because of that, right? But something else deep down inside of me says that the movement behind doing this is not organic. And I don't mean that in the sense of, you know what I mean? It is not domestic. It is not part of what the American people want. And so now we're seeing, dun, 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 what has China done? They have bought Hollywood. They have bought our government. We want Joe. We want Joe. You know what I'm saying? Like China chose Joe Biden. China wanting not only legalized marijuana because they want the stupefaction of American citizens, like they desire that. But now we're seeing that they've got a cash crop. And so what can they do? Cash is king. So they can now use that and underhandedly, under the table, get the things that they need. And it's totally off the books. Nobody can track it. Nobody can trace it. I'm seeing Red Dawn all over again, okay? I'm just saying, I've been saying it, guys. We got to stop with this stupid libertarian idea, because libertarianism will take you as far as everybody has a right to kill their babies. Everybody has a right to murder and do all kinds of, oh, Michelle, well, that's ridiculous. No one would take it that far. Excuse me? Because they have, and they are. And yes, so we have to be thinking people, right? I'm a thinking person. And anybody that comes to me and says, Michelle, we can't regulate drugs because we're libertarians, and how can you say you want raw milk to be legal, but you don't want the government's hand in raw milk, but you're totally okay with the government's hands in drugs? I'm sorry. I'm a thinking person, and I believe in the fact that when people's brain cells, and don't I've watched it, okay? You can't kid a kidder, all right? I have seen what happens, and trying to be careful because sometimes they do watch our show, but I'll just say it like this. There are people in multiples around me that I have known for 20 years, and I have watched their cognitive decline. And it's very interesting that the people that I know that have had a cognitive decline, they all smoke marijuana regularly. Okay. And I'm looking at them and it freaks me out and it's sad, right? So don't tell me it doesn't fry your brain cells, because I've seen it. Oh, it could be it could be a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. I've watched it. Nobody else in my life has had this cognitive decline other than the people that smoke marijuana regularly. Okay, that's all I got to say.
So somebody had posted this as a commercial break. Things I learned today in Alabama and some other states, you can't get a DUI on a horse.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were ready for me to play it right now?
Mm-hmm. It's the next
very
one.
next one?
Yeah.
Okay. Still stuck on the fact that I have to smell marijuana everywhere I go now. And
it's
and
awful. I hate it. Yeah. I hate it.
You cannot get a DUI on a horse in the state of North Carolina. Look it up. Look it up. Now, I can get a DUI when I do my buggy, but I cannot get a DUI on a horse. I was watching this YouTube.
Readers, added context, though, you can get a DUI for riding a horse in Alabama. The law is that a ridden animal shall be deemed a vehicle. So he needs to.
So he was wrong.
He needs to look that up. He needs to look that up before he goes riding into the sunset there, thinking that he's not going to get in trouble drunk on a horse. I wanted to play this last week. This was a documentary by Ned Ryan, and I just want to play this trailer here. It's a documentary called American Leviathan, and it came out last week, and I thought you guys might be interested, so I want to go ahead and play this trailer.
Who is really running the U.S. government? Americans are rightly questioning what has happened to our country. How was the duly elected president of the United States targeted by the Department of Justice and the FBI? How did the FBI and Justice Department knowingly use a fabricated dossier to lie to a federal court to secure 4 warrants in an abuse of federal power? And why was no one at the FBI, the DOJ, the courts, any federal agency or department ever held accountable or suffer consequences for these illegal acts? The targeting of President Donald J. Trump confirmed that there are two competing forms of government operating in Washington, D.C.
The politics and the culture of Washington, D.C. are all antithetical to a healthy, functioning American republic.
We are living in a scenario right now where the people with power, they think they know more than the people that founded this country, and they think that their job is to impose their view on the rest of us.
I think that the three most dangerous words in Donald Trump's vocabulary that the establishment heard was drain the swamp.
It is time to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C.
I'm in favor and was and supported, and I'm a friend of Bobby Kennedy because he wants to break the back of the status quo in this town. As does Tulsi, as does Pete, as does Cash. And I'm telling you, this town is now as nervous as it's ever been.
Elon Musk, we didn't elect him. We didn't select him.
Our democracy has become synonymous with an...
Technically, and I don't like Elon Musk. She says, we didn't elect him and we didn't select him. So you don't know how governments work.
Mm-hmm.
Trump selected him and we selected Trump. So technically we did. And I just want to make sure everybody understands that.
Embrace of the administrative state. Anything the administrative state is doing, anything that the deep state is doing is identified by the left with our democracy. In fact, it is the enemy of our constitutional republic.
The political branches are not going to drain the swamp. Why the hell would the reptiles drain the swamp?
It was the great outsider of Trump who brought this administrative state into the light and to the surface. And now the American people have the opportunity to take their government back.
I think that might be, I think it'd be good to see the birth of the administrative state. I don't know if I have as much
faith in
getting it back. This next clip I wanted to play, this is Batya Ungar Sargon. What a name. She's obviously Jewish. She has a really good take on the tariffs, and then I want to actually take the next clip, the second one, and play it over and over for you guys to understand just why we are upset with Trump. But play this. Go ahead.
I want to answer the question about manufacturing in the 70s.
Oh, I don't blame you. I'll go back to that,
So the reason people want to go back to the 70s is in the 70s, the largest share of our GDP was in the middle class. And that was not separate from the fact that 25% of our economy was in manufacturing.
Right, the largest share of our GDP
was in the middle class, the biggest chunk. The middle class,
most
people
of
who
what
were
was
middle
produced
income.
came from the middle, and now it comes from what? The rich.
Now, the top 20% controls over 50% of the GDP. Our economy was an upward funnel of wealth, and the largest share, which used to be in manufacturing, which gave a lot of working class people a middle class standard of living, now the largest share is in real estate and finance, meaning that asset-rich Americans are controlling over 50% of the GDP, and they have left the working class out of all of that prosperity that was generated. That manufacturing is still being done. It's just being done in other countries. It is still
for wages we will not work for.
That's exactly right. You're right, Bill. That's what the tariffs are for. They are to make American workers more competitive in the global market. Why are we accepting that there should be a race to the bottom? You know, China, what is its competitive advantage over us? It's that it pays slave wages. Why should we accept that? They're still manufacturing our PPE, our pharmaceuticals, our cars. They're making all that stuff. Trump says there are 5 industries that we cannot have any kind of national security without having a stake in them. Pharmaceuticals, lumber, steel, aluminum, and I forget what the 5th one was. But these are really important that we have a stake in the manufacturing of the things that we need as a nation so that when China decides that it wants to go to war against us, we're not relying on them for steel and aluminum in order to fight them.
Okay, well, at least that's an answer.
That is a very, very good answer, and there's no argument against that.
But did you see how immediately the audience booed? Like they just are taught just
boo at
we
the
hate tariffs.
Yeah. So, Mom had said, the problem with these tariffs is they don't work with the debt-based dollar.
That's good.
They don't work with a debt-based dollar. So I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work out. To be honest with you, they go into effect April 2nd because he didn't want everybody to think it's an April Fool's joke. So it's not April 1st. The ones with, I don't think we haven't actually implemented the ones with Canada and China yet, from what I understand.
I think the
Or
Canadian
Mexico.
ones did go in.
The Canadian ones in. I know
pretty
that
sure.
there's two that go into effect on April 2nd. That was a good explanation, and we've been trying to say that for years. All our vitamin C is made over in China. Everything's made over in China. As we saw during COVID, Young Living had their essential oils, but they couldn't get you the essential oils because the bottles are made in China.
Yeah.
And that happened with so many things that you couldn't get. I remember not being able to get yeast. What I'm guessing is the bags that hold the yeast are made in China.
So you get these products and they say made in the USA, and you're like, well, this should be fine. I should be getting this. But unfortunately, and we know this because we're now manufacturing products, I think a lot of these products now, I get a lot of my products from companies that are made in the USA, but unfortunately, it's more like you know what I'm saying? Like their company is based in the USA, but not all of the products or the things that make up and comprise the products are there. Okay, we could get American castor oil, right? But what about the gallon-sized jug that it comes in? If that comes from China, then that company that's a USA-based company can't get us the castor oil, right? And so I want to take a minute and read some of these comments here real quick. Leah, Ovi says, what about property taxes for owners? Are they still going to the Department of Education? So to answer that question, because Ovi is not based in, or he lives in the United States, but he's not from the United States. Our property taxes don't go to the Department of Education. What you hear us talking about all the time, how it pays for education, primarily, I think what is it, over 50%?
60%. It's our property taxes go to
directly to our local, not just our county, it's just our school district.
They're Claremont County property taxes. It's a Claremont County auditor.
Right, but
then
they subdivide to your local school district, right? So in Milford, we live in Milford, when they have a school levy that passes, that increases our property taxes. So what's very interesting about the way that the government funded schools go, the reason why they're called government funded, is that not only are we funding the education of these local kids, but then they get federal dollars that come in for every student as well. So Barry says, with the Musk protests in the USA, he hasn't fared too well in the UK over the last few days with the lefties. They are all blockading Tesla showrooms, telling people not to buy them. It sounds like the EV lefties are falling out of love with the electronic vehicles. That is awesome. Ovi says, Illinois is a mess. Lived there for 15 years. So glad that I am out. Tag, you had left a good comment earlier too about the Department of Education. Where did it go? And Tag would know about a lot of the common law issues too. He says, May versus Anderson, the Supreme Court of the United States. Now, I don't see your other comment that was, he said he's right. Children are your liberty interests. Right to liberty guaranteed in every constitution. Very well said. And then I do want to do a shout out here over on YouTube. We have Red in the chat. Now, he's like, it's been a very long time. It has been a very, very long time. So it's so funny to see. This is an off YouTube channel. This is like a sidecar. So really only our most loyal of followers even followed us before that channel got deleted. And so it's nice to see you in the chat. I think Red's been with us since 2017. That's awesome. So that's really fun to see you there. And I hope that we have more people. And I've been seeing that a lot. Like, oh man, I see this in comments. I didn't think that you guys had a channel going anymore. So if you are watching us on Rumble and you're one of the oldies, or excuse me, on YouTube, please go and follow us on Rumble. I'm telling you, unless Leah and I make a big announcement, okay, we're going to, so if you don't see us, we're still going.
There's a happy chat over there on Rumble.
Yes, there's a happy chat going on over on Rumble. All right, Leah, I'm done.
Here's her next clip. Somebody says, this is fantastic. She hits every point actual conservatives have been saying for years. And actually, I don't think this is good. she's a liberal. She's a lefty MAGA person, and I want you to hear.
We've played clips from her before that I don't like. Actually, I'm not a huge fan of this chick.
Well, she's the group that took over the MAGA party, and they're very happy about it.
When I look at what President Trump ran on and the agenda that he's enacting right now, he took a Republican Party that was built on social conservatism, foreign interventions and wars, and free trade and free markets. And he basically took an axe to all of those. During the campaign, he said, look, I mean, he's pretty pro-gay. That's pretty obvious. He appointed the highest-ranking out gay person, Scott Bessent, our Secretary of Treasury, which is incredible. And he sidelined the pro-life wing of his party.
He has changed the party, for sure.
Okay, so he believes abortion should be legal for 12 weeks.
But free trade, you mentioned.
On foreign intervention, he's anti-war. He's trying to bring to an end to all of these wars, okay?
By surrendering, but yes.
Okay.
I mean, that is one way to end the war.
Well, you know, he's on the other side of another party that is quite pro-war and wants to keep the war going, right?
But
so let me just get to the third point. And the third point is, and he's not free trade. He does not believe in free trade. He looked at our destroyed manufacturing base. He looked at the downwardly mobile working class. He looked at the fact that working class Americans can no longer afford the American dream. And he looked at why that was, which was there was a handshake agreement between both parties that we should somehow have free trade, which resulted in shipping 5 million good manufacturing jobs overseas to build up China and Mexico.
And some came here.
No, what they did was they brought in millions and millions of illegal migrants to compete with the jobs that remained here. And what Donald Trump said was, we have to stop selling out the working class. That agenda that he laid out, socially moderate, anti-war, and anti-free trade protectionist, that is a leftist
Sam, I will bring you in, I swear to God.
That is a leftist agenda. Now, but
Ain't even saying it, Ernie.
But no, I disagree on her first two. I disagree on her points there. I think that she is still thinking in a binary term, because Obama, Clinton, and Bush were all the same on war.
Mm-hmm.
And Bush inherited the 9/11.
Well, he didn't inherit it; he was there for it.
What I mean is he inherited. What I mean by inheriting it is he came into he inherited it. He was the king's son, and GW didn't finish what he wanted to do in the Middle East, and so the next Bush Jr.
You mean HW?
Whatever.
You said
Bush
GW.
Senior. I don't care. These guys are stupid. Bush Jr. inherited the expansion of the Middle East wars, but he was given carte blanche by both sides of the aisle in Congress. He was given a blank check. Go to war with everybody who you want to go to war with. And it was 7 countries in 5 years. That was that was not a party line. So this lady saying that that's a leftist and no war is a leftist agenda, she's pointing to like the Vietnam War, right? But even then, the military-industrial complex has always been bipartisan. Who will write our check for us? And we're seeing something else kind of emerge where Trump went ahead and bombed the Houthis in Yemen, where the military-industrial complex, they're going to keep making their weapons, right? They have to find a way to get Trump involved in some sort of war. Now, he says that he doesn't want to be in one. And then I believe, as a libertarian-ish leaning person and truly right, if you want to, right as in big business, okay, that's the big business party. That's not who we are. That's not who I am. That's not who I was. And I think that she's right about one thing, is that the Republican Party has gotten us to vote Republican for things that we disagree with on war and things like that, and free trade and non-protectionist policies that would keep the carpenter in America being able to make things without cheap stuff coming over from overseas. But when she just so enthusiastically said, he literally sidelined, gagged, shut up, put under the pro-life wing of the Republican Party. That's the Christian wing. Now we have, and this is what I get so angry about, and this is why I know the devil's attacking us, attacks Michelle and I. Whenever we get an attack, I know it's because we are literally, I feel like a voice crying in the wilderness. What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on around here? I see Lance Wallnau. I see every single person has drank the Kool-Aid of Satan and decided that babies' lives don't matter. We used to be pro-life, but that didn't work. That didn't win elections. We need to win elections. And she enthusiastically said Trump is pro-gay marriage, and he is up to abortion up to 12 weeks. And now the Republican platform will not speak out against abortion through up to 6 months. The only platform that the Republican Party takes, and I got, made fun of on Twitter when I said that, somebody had said, some famous person had said, pray for the righteousness of our country. It was Dutch Sheets, by the way. Dutch Sheets. March 19th, 2025. We decree that righteousness will prevail in the courts of America. Okay. And I said, and God will rain justice on Republicans and Trump for changing the Republican pro-life platform that affirmed that life begins at conception to not being against abortion until the 6th month, and getting rid of wording that marriage is between a man and a woman. And some person tweeted out and said, yada, yada, you obviously don't know God. There are a number of Christians on X who would love to see you accept Christ. So we have now decided that anything against Trump is now against Jesus, including standing up for being pro-life. I don't see Clay Clark. I don't see Dutch Sheets. I don't see Paula White. I don't see any of my reawakened friends saying anything about abortion, anything about gay marriage. You're allowed to say what you're going to say as long as the wind blows in your direction. And I'm over here standing like on what I thought was the word of God, which is life begins at conception, and that God is going to damn America, punish America, judge America for the over 50 million, now 60 million babies slaughtered on the altar of Baal and Molech. And she comes out and says it. He sidelined the Christians. It's not the pro-life wing. It's the Christians. There's not very many pro-life atheists. He sidelined the Christians to move forward for elections. And I saw it happen in real time. I saw it with Mike Cernovich. I saw it with Tim Pool. I saw them say, shut up, Christian pro-lifist. You don't win elections on being pro-life. You live in a crazy world.
You know what's interesting is that those people told us that if we shut up about abortion leading up to the election, we would be allowed. Thank you for allowing us. We would be allowed to talk about it afterwards.
No, they didn't actually say that.
No, a lot of them did.
I don't know, because they said that's not a winning. No, Mike Cernovich has said this is not a winning topic for elections, meaning we have to take back.
I saw a lot of people that came out and said, we have to win. That's what their focus was on. We have to win. Just you can get back to it after we win.
I asked the people and I saw it, and what I heard when I saw them say, and I believe Mike Cernovich was one of the heads of the scorpion, the octopus turning the body. He said, once you have gained back power, once you have won enough elections, once you are in a position to control, then and then only can you be pro-life.
So I want to get a little bit open with you guys, if I may. Open and honest, behind the curtain. Not that Lee and I really have a curtain. You guys pretty much get everything. But Lee and I were having a conversation just yesterday. We were walking some dogs. And I said, Lee, it's just so strange. I can't really explain or put into words how I feel about the world right now. I sound like an old person, but everything is so big. Everything is so vast. Everything is so wide, meaning if I want to purchase a hemp seed oil on the internet, I have 1,000 options to choose from. If I want to purchase anything, I have thousands of options to choose from. If you want to find some news, you've got tens and 20s of thousands of people to choose from. Red's here in the chat. Hilton's here in the chat. Barry's been with us forever, for like 8 years. There was a time, and we've said this before, and I please indulge me for 1 second and listen to this just one more time. There was a time when breaking news would happen and you would go and put that, like, you know, school bombing or whatever in YouTube.
You'd put it into Google.
You could put it into Google. And Leah and I were the top 3, 4, or 5th result right next to Alex Jones. Okay? We have been doing this for 8 years before everybody was a podcaster. You have to understand something. On Instagram, everybody's a podcaster. On Twitter, everybody's a podcaster. I don't care. I don't begrudge it. I'm fine with it. Okay? But there was a time when what we said was needed. When covering the news and what happened,
there wasn't anybody else.
Like, do you know how many times Leah and I come and do a show and you guys in the chat, and again, this is not, I don't care. This doesn't bother me. I'm going somewhere with this. We'll come with you guys something, and you guys have already done all the research. You already know all about it. The job that we had to bring you breaking news doesn't really exist anymore, okay? Because you already know about it, because you are flooded with podcasters and information. And we were literally at the very beginning. There was only a handful, except for Alex Jones.
Tim Pool wasn't even there
that
yet.
did shows.
Tim Pool was not a podcaster. He became a podcaster. We covered him becoming a podcaster.
Exactly. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because it's not like Leah and I had
Candace Owens.
It's not like Leah and I had a moment where we're like, should we keep doing this? That wasn't the discussion, okay? It was actually the opposite. It was, I do what I do because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I'm called to do this right now. I'm not married with kids right now because I know that God has called me to do this right now. Like, this is, even if there's only a handful of people watching, because we would have been, and I don't say this with arrogance, please hear me on this. Even in spite of our out there views, super conservative views, if we had bowed to the machine, we would be, I'm not saying as big as Tim Pool, but we'd be much, much bigger because we were at one point, right? But we didn't bow.
There's a narrative that you kind of got created along the way.
Yeah.
You were allowed to be anti-establishment, and those channels flourished.
Right.
Okay. And then when Trump came along, it became this stranglehold that you had to be pro-Trump in everything. And then if you spoke about at all, no one would listen to you anymore.
So the point that I'm getting to here is Lee and I say things that I know that a lot of you guys sometimes disagree with. Okay. But why are we still doing this? Because we're not doing it just to tell you the news, because you can already get the news anywhere you want. It's there. 8 years ago, it wasn't. And what we were doing was bringing you the news, and we were where people got it. Okay. And that's what we did. But now we're here and we're doing something different. We're not just bringing you the news. We are bringing you what is happening without the echo chamber of what everybody is saying. And hopefully, and we pray to God before every show, hopefully we are bringing you the God angle that the Tim Pools aren't going to bring you. The Candace Owens isn't going to bring you. They are not on their faces before God throughout the day, all day. Like Lee and I were in prayer today, multiple times, like praying in the spirit. Everywhere I go, I'm thinking about you guys. I'm thinking about what's going on in the world. And I am praying in the spirit throughout the day so that we can get answers that will last and will stick. You know, like we said earlier, and I'll be done with my rant in a second. Trump can sign these executive orders, but without it passing through Congress, it doesn't become law, and the next president just wipes it out. Like Trump's going through and he's wiping out a lot of what Biden did. Why? Because it doesn't last, so it doesn't really matter. The same thing exists in the spirit realm. It doesn't matter what happens in Congress. It doesn't matter what happens even in the Senate. None of that matters. If we don't change it in the spirit realm,
that's good.
It will not last, and it won't be pure. Okay. So why do Leah and I consistently come to you every week? Is it just to tell you the news? No, because you can get that anywhere and you already do. You come to us all the time. You're like, Michelle and Leah, we got the news. We're going to break it to you. Okay, fine. That's okay. Tell me this stuff, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when I bring it to you, I'm going to have done so after getting on my face before God to try to find what the Holy Spirit is saying about that thing. That's what sets Resistance Chicks apart from every other podcast that you guys go to get your news. We're not here just to tell you the news.
Mm-hmm.
That's not why we're here. We are here because we believe that you want something deeper than just a headline. That's why we don't do clickbait. Because we're not here just to clickbait you into watching. If you want the truth and you want God's words on this and you can't get it yourself, come to Resistance Chicks. We'll do our very best.
So Paula White this week had her prayer with the president, and it got a little controversial, but nobody really cares. And nobody's calling Paula White out for what she really does. Somebody said, a table full of godly men listening to a female prosperity preacher. Did any of them rebuke her or warn the president? The problem isn't necessarily her prosperity gospel fake con message is bad enough. Most people are mad because she's a woman. Guys, she is an adulteress. She's literally right now fakely married to the keyboardist from the band Journey who left his wife for her. The same thing happened with Joni. Now, our good friend Dr. Artis just went on Daystar, and where Michelle and I were like face palming. What are you doing? He literally flew. Well, he didn't really fly. He was just there because he's in Texas. He went into their studios. I'm sure he doesn't know, and I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it. He doesn't know what's going on with the Joni Lamb. You know, she's running her.
But they're probably, and unfortunately, I don't want to get in anybody's business, and you guys know how much we love Dr. Artis. I just have a watch, and he'll be on Daystar. His program will be on Daystar. Like, I felt like it was almost like a trial run. Like, here, come and see how big we can make you. And it's like Dr. Artis is already huge by himself. He doesn't need Daystar.
They have a lot of slots to fill because people have.
And so now they're going to reach out to a lot of these doctors and offer them these deals.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Like, somebody posted a video. We haven't played it. And maybe I don't know if we will on the Healing for Fractured Soul or not, but one of the women who actually sued Daystar over Marcus Lamb having a 7-year affair. They lied, Joni and Marcus lied on Dr. Phil and around the world, basically, that these people just wanted money out of them and wanted to take their pain and make it a profit. We're not going to spend God's money. This woman sued because she left a $250,000 a year job to go work media for Daystar, and she was forced to sign a document that's a morality document saying, you know, you're not going to have sex outside of marriage, you're going to adhere to Christian principles, Christian standards, and lo and behold, while she is being forced to sign this, Marcus Lamb was in a 7 years long affair. And then she was tasked with covering it up. And the woman was paid off. They actually bought the woman's house so she could leave because she worked at Daystar, the woman she had an affair with. He was having an affair with. And so the Lambs should have been on the Lamb a long time ago. I am going to request your prayers for us because the people and the things in the spirit realm that we are going up against are the deep-seated corruptions. Please, I know that a lot of you donate finances, and we really appreciate that.
Yes.
But if you have time, 5-10 minutes throughout the day to pray for us, to encourage, to ask the Holy Spirit to lead us, to guide us, to protect us from onslaughts from the enemy, because we wrestle not with flesh and blood. That's the difference. I'm not fighting the Department of Education, even though there's a demonic spirit behind it. You've got to take it down. You have to go at it. But the one person that's kind of shown us this is Nayib Bukele from El Salvador. He's like, when you know it's spiritual, then you can take these guys down, and that's what we have to do. So when Trump is sidelining the pro-life wing of his party, what he's saying is that, hey, Christians, we don't want that God. So he brings in Paula White because he wants that God. That version of God is the God that allows affairs and cons people out of money. And anybody who would be around Paula White, anybody who would pray with Paula White, you are teaming up with demons. And so what Trump has done by bringing in Paula White and being prayed for by Paula White is he is invoking a demonic stronghold on this nation.
Let me read a couple of comments and then we'll move on to the next story because I'm just so excited that Red's here. So Patriot Galley was asking him some questions. He says, I just looked you ladies up on a whim a couple of days ago. I'm glad everybody's doing good. So Patriot Gallery asked if he was still into the guns and the knives and things like that. He says, I'm good. I'm doing well. I don't really make videos anymore. Just kind of got tired of evils in society. So I just kind of keep to myself. I'm trying to focus on God and what's important in life. He says, yes, I still collect and sell knives. Bought a few new firearms since we last spoke. I just mostly keep to myself these days. And he says, I remember those days. Yep. Too much of these days, a flood of depression, and listening to you ladies was nice because you included God. Are you still doing Bible studies? And yes, we are still doing Bible studies. And he says, yep. News these days is a constant barrage. And I got a couple more over here on Rumble here. So from Becky, she says, the executive orders drive me bonkers. Amen. Faith Gal says, amen. I'm praying with y'all throughout the day, all day, every day, in Jesus' name. She goes on to say she's a fake and a fraud. That's about, I think, Joni Lamb or Paula White. Ovi says, I love Dr. Artis. Barry says, Michelle, people come to your show from all over the world because of your messages you bring. Even us atheists and pagans come here because of your moralistic messages and humor. I love that, Barry. Chris says, we're praying. Faith Gal says, facts, Leah, every Ezekiel 32 and 34, pastor and shepherd be exposed in Jesus' name. Amen. Ovi says, Resistant Chick's message is powerful. I know you don't believe. Oh, he's talking back to Barry. But I've met them in person, and there is a message of love and goodness of this world in their message. Not of this world, I think is what you mean. Let me double check over here on Facebook. All right. I think I'm caught up on comments, but...
well, let's get back into conspiracy world. Michelle, will you go to, you can skip one and then go to a couple days ago. Yesterday, 7 more balloons carrying 22 pounds of sulfur dioxide were launched, and 6 made it to the stratosphere to cool the Earth. This is the cooling equivalent of 476,190 mature trees that last for a year. Thank you to our awesome customers who made it happen. This should be evil. You should. This is geoengineering. This is geoengineering.
D4 tracker.
It should be illegal.
Just plant the darn trees, weirdo. Why do you get to put something into the atmosphere to control the weather with a chemical and they put more up? This video shows the inflation of the balloon using hydrogen gas and attaching the telemetry of the balloon. I can't believe that they're allowed to do this. In February, they deployed 35 pounds of SO2 into the stratosphere, the equivalent of 773 mature trees. Just plant the trees to cool the Earth. This is geoengineering.
Stop it.
Someone says, may all of you rot in hell experimenting with our ecosystem. You don't know. No one is coming to save us. Time to cowboy up. You don't know. You can't do this.
This is evil.
You don't get to do this. You do
Somebody
not
says, what
get
if
to
you
do
planted
this?
trees instead of releasing sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere?
Well, looky there, Kenneth.
They said, great question. Plenty of people are doing that, but it doesn't seem to be happening fast enough.
The water-soluble gas sulfur dioxide, SO2, is frequently emitted into the environment by coal-fired power plants, refineries, paper mills, and food processing facilities. Sulfur dioxide threatens human health and has numerous severe side effects. It may contaminate the clean air that people breathe before harming them. Additionally, if tightly controlled, it can positively affect the ecosystem.
Stop it. I can't with these people.
Geoengineering is real.
I just don't think that it should be legal for people to do this. I know it shouldn't be. And it's not a think. It's this is wrong. It's evil. And we command you to stop in the name of Jesus.
Yes. We command you to stop in the name of Jesus. All right. I'm going to go over here to the... Okay. We did that one on Illinois. Key pro-life organizations demand Republicans repeal the Weaponized Face Act as soon as possible. They can do this. Remember, this is the act that has the dad of 11 convicted for praying at an abortion facility. 5 pro-lifers were found guilty of the Face Act violations protesting at late-term abortion facility. A peaceful pro-lifer gets years in prison after Biden DOJ targeted her under the Face Act. Biden-Harris DOJ just threw this black mom in prison for 3 years for pro-life speech. A coalition of notable pro-life organizations is asking the Republicans who control the House Judiciary Committee to advance legislation repealing the law the Biden administration weaponized to throw peaceful pro-lifers in prison. Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life Organization, Family Research Council, want an immediate end to the freedom of access to clinic entrances. The signees expressed optimism that Donald Trump's decisive action to pardon dozens of pro-lifers who were victims of the Biden's regime lopsided lawfare, but noted it's not enough to prevent weaponization from happening again. Until the Face Act is actually repealed, the letter warns, pro-lifers' efforts to protect the most vulnerable in our society will continue to be sidelined, and you could still be attacked. Under the Biden regime, 55 of the 60 Face Act cases zeroed in on Americans who prayed, sang, and evangelized at abortion facilities. In fact, the first time Face Act charges were ever brought against a pro-abortion activist was only after Republicans took control of the House and opened investigations into the Biden administration's political abuses of the unjust law. Chip Roy and 25 Republican co-sponsors already introduced the legislation. I don't see why they would not pass this. The problem is that what I saw when Trump pardoned these pro-lifers, I saw so many people saying, "See, you pro-lifers, you keep attacking him to be pro-life, and he won't pardon your people." I'm like, right is right, and I kept a sign out in my front yard that withered away because it said, I voted for Trump in 2020 to protect babies in the womb. It's like a baby in the womb my friend had made. And
no, we made that.
No, we didn't.
We
That
didn't?
was from
Okay.
Barb.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard slashes the DEI, wasteful spending of tens of millions of dollars. Looks like the Biden administration forced illegal, and immoral discrimination programs going by the name diversity, equity, and inclusion into virtually all aspects of the federal government in areas ranging from airline safety to the military. Gabbard has eliminated the DEI office and staff, $20 million, scrapped unnecessary conferences, saving $3 million, nixed unnecessary program licenses, $1.4 million. So that's could be good. I don't know. We'll wait to be seen on any of that, but sounds good to me. USAID censorship scheme exposed. Global Engagement Center worked with the UK government and media firms to deploy AI tools.
Oh, wow.
On Thursday, the America First Legal released explosive new documents obtained through ongoing litigation against the U.S. Department of State's Global Engagement Center, the GEC, exposing a vast government-backed censorship operation to silence Americans under the guise of misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. The documents reveal a disturbing alliance between the GEC and the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, the British Foreign Commonwealth Development Office, the FCDO, and media censorship organizations, all working in lockstep to manipulate public discourse, control media narratives, and suppress free speech. The GEC, which was forced to shut down in December of 2024, was designed to combat foreign disinformation abroad. However, through the Freedom of Information request, the AFL uncovered that the GEC engaged in state-sponsored propaganda, repeatedly using willing participants from private media organizations. Further, the AFL's lawsuit against the GEC revealed that USAID had created an internal disinformation primer that explicitly praised private sector censorship strategies and recommended further censorship tactics. The GEC and USAID coordinated efforts to censor COVID-19 information and counter COVID-19 propaganda. The GEC collaborated with officials in the British Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office in disinformation efforts. It was worldwide. The GEC coordinated with private media, censorship firms, Pointier, a news guard, which provided samples of its misinformation fingerprints, artificial intelligence tool designed to identify and rate websites based on their perceived misinformation. I'm sure we were right up there. In a widely distributed email to USAID, the GEC's liaison planner to USAID stated that GEC would like to sustain dialogue and connectivity during these unprecedented times to help counter, quote, misinformation surrounding COVID-19, despite USAID's self-described mission of being to extend assistance to countries recovering from disaster, trying to escape poverty, and engaging in democratic
reforms.
So here's the thing. What they're saying is they use the USAID money to censor people around COVID.
Right.
Using AI tools. The documents show that GEC communicated with multiple branches of USAID. All kinds.
I'm sure
Tons
we would
of
have
them.
heard of it.
The Digital Development, the Asian Bureau of ES Taskers, the Asia Outreach, just you can continue to see them. The coordination with Internet Censors NewsGuard and Pointier. 2 days after the 2020 U.S. presidential election, NewsGuard Technologies general manager Matt Skibinski started an email chain to pitch NewsGuard services. Included in his email chain were Park advisors who designed and led multi-million public-private initiatives addressing security threats and information environment. So we're paying to censor ourselves. And the U.S. Department of State officials shared information to a foreign government. I would say it says the partnership between USAID and the Global Engagement Center is bad news for American people. Add in the fact that they were coordinating with internet censorship enforcers at NewsGuard and Pointier, and you can start to see just how dangerous this unholy alliance is for free speech and free expression. Thankfully, the GEC is shuttered and the USAID is being exposed. So if there's one good thing coming out of the Doge and the USAID being exposed, I think that that's good. The question is, now they're just trying a different tactic, and we have to figure out what that is.
I just want to know when they'll be held accountable, right?
Never.
You know, or when it's going to change, right? So we're still being censored on YouTube. We got a strike last week, on your account for 6 months, 3 months, whatever it is.
90 days.
90 days, okay? And we couldn't live stream or upload any content for a whole week. We're still being censored. So don't tell me that this whole censorship thing is gone away just because Trump's in office. It hasn't. They're still doing it. You know?
They are still doing it. Well, for better or for worse, they're poor Tesla owners. Michelle, you can play this. Tesla fires. The FBI says Las Vegas vehicle arson has hallmarks of terrorism.
Okay, hang on. This is not just happening in Las Vegas. This is multiple fires.
Tesla's under attack.
And like I said, this really benefits Elon Musk a lot. Just so everybody knows. It's really good for him.
We're here today to discuss an incident that happened early this morning near the 6200 block of Badura Avenue. At approximately 2:45 a.m., we received several 911 calls about a fire at a Tesla collision and sales center. One caller stated they heard gunshots and that there was a subject wearing black clothing setting multiple Tesla vehicles on fire. Upon arrival, officers discovered several vehicles on fire, as well as the word resist spray painted on the front doors of the business. Our partners from the Clark County Fire Department quickly put out the fires, and together with our K-9 and Armor Task Force, which is responsible for hazmat response, we're able to make the scene secure and safe. As of now, I can tell you that we believe the suspect approached the business wearing all black clothing, and he used what appear to be Molotov cocktails and a firearm to conduct his attack. At least 5 Tesla vehicles were damaged, to include 2 of which were engulfed in flames. As I mentioned earlier, we're still in the process of collecting evidence, but it appears the suspect fired at least 3 rounds into different Tesla vehicles, so we do believe a firearm was used. But you'll see a Tesla vehicle catch fire momentarily. You'll see the suspect pop up right next to the Tesla vehicle. That individual then appears to be reaching into some kind of bag or backpack, and then he'll walk back and forth from that vehicle that's already on fire to another vehicle. The loud bang that you just heard, we believe, was a gunshot that was fired into one of the Tesla vehicles. In a longer version of the clip, there are 2 gunshots in addition to that are heard. Also point out that we have recovered at least 1 unignited Molotov cocktail located in one of the Tesla vehicles, and we're working collectively with our partners to test that material and process that as evidence. We do believe that it is isolated at this time. We do not believe that there's any further threat to the general public. However, as a precaution, like we do on many of these types of incidents, we've increased our police presence, in particular at Tesla locations or any Tesla-related locations in the Valley.
This is being investigated by the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force. We are working tirelessly to gather all the facts. Our agents have been on scene since early this morning. One thing that I wanted to highlight and make crystal clear, especially in light of reporting that's been ongoing around the country about similar incidents, targeted attacks at Tesla facilities, is that violent acts like this are unacceptable regardless of where they occur. And specifically to those who might think that something like this is justifiable or potentially even admirable, we want to let you know it's a federal crime. We will come after you, we will find you, and prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law.
If I'm Elon Musk, the best $25 million I ever spent to get me to hold for full force of the United States government to protect my vehicles.
So Jim says, how does this benefit Elon? So you didn't see the intro to the show, so I'll repeat it. Elon Musk has been going around crying victim over these multiple Tesla attacks. This is really great for him because Republicans, as much as they love everything that Elon's doing, hate electronic vehicles. They are against them. They are avidly against them. So Tesla already is crummy because they keep having all of these cars catch fire and they're not great. Now, they say that they're their safest car. They're not the safest car.
You still have to charge. You have to get a whole new...
Nobody wants...
You have to charge your car at your house. You have to charge... Find a charging station.
So the right doesn't want your thing because they don't like your thing. They just don't like it. We don't like it. We don't want your electronic vehicles. Now, the left that was buying all of your Teslas hates you. So now they're not buying your cars anymore. So Elon Musk has to figure out a way to boost sales. So what did he do? We covered this on Sunday, I think Sunday or last Friday. He decides he's going to gift Donald Trump a Tesla. Donald Trump agrees to this, and he sells Donald Trump. I don't think he gifted or sell it to him on the White House lawn. Brings all these Teslas for Trump to choose from. Huge publicity stunt. Elon is doing whatever he can to get the right to buy his electronic vehicles. So I'm not saying that Elon Musk caused these. I think that the left is deranged enough and they hate Elon enough now to actually do these types of attacks. However, it really benefits Elon. Like I said at the start of the show, you've got all these people on the right that actually have money. They're like, I think we're going to buy a Tesla now. Forget the fact that we don't like electronic vehicles. We got to support Elon. You know what I'm saying? Any publicity is good publicity, and Elon Musk knows this. He's going around crying victim, and you've got Pam Bondi and all of these government, just like that FBI guy that you just saw, full extent of the law, we'll come and find you and all this, that, and the other. I'm not sure that if this was Ford or Toyota or any of these other, car companies, that they would be taking such a staunch stance.
Well, now we have the Tesla takedown organizers plan color revolution to kill the brand and death spiral for investors. This is the most ridiculous thing because obviously this is going to help Elon. So honestly, I just feel like this is a joke because what this does is it makes every time you make somebody into a victim, then the left does have to back off. Radical, quote, anti-capitalist organizers joined a Tesla takedown teleconference earlier this week to discuss a nationwide, mostly peaceful assault on Tesla Motors. With protests expected by the end of the month, one unhinged journalist admitted the true intent of the color revolution against Elon Musk to crash Tesla's stock. You can see Professor, quote unquote, Joan Donovan. You can bring this up if you would like.
Sure.
Her handle on Twitter is Boston Joan. She was one of the speakers during the Tesla takedown call. They called for 500 anti-Tesla protests to take place at Tesla's showrooms on March 29th.
So here's the Tesla takedown, the take action against Tesla.
Hurting Tesla is stopping Musk. Stopping Musk will help save lives and our democracy. The stakes couldn't be higher. So scroll down, please.
Last thing I want to say is that I study memes. And the most obvious meme nobody's talking about is Elon's black hat. And he thinks of himself as this black hat hacker that's broken into the government and socially engineered his way into the treasury. And he's going to abscond with all the data. It's an obvious data heist. But he believes he's living a meme. And so we need to be very clear about what our demands are, about what our bright lines are, and that we're not going to stop until Tesla is done with Musk. Thank you.
I love that they still want the Teslas. They just want Tesla to be done with Musk. If you scroll down here, this is The Intercept's former director of information security. She was part of the, keep going, the call.
Journalists banned by Elon Musk after the billionaire bought Twitter, which I will always be calling it, is the only okay thing to dead name. Now Micah writes software to help people delete their tweets and stay private and secure online. In his investigative journalism, Micah works to expose the far right and hold the broligarchs accountable. Micah, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey everyone, I'm Micah Lee calling in from Northern California. I'm excited to be here. I'm an investigative journalist and a hacker. So yeah, back in 2022, when I was the director of information security at The Intercept, I wrote a lot of articles about Elon Musk taking over Twitter. I wrote about how he immediately started purging prominent leftist accounts, how he brought back previously banned neo-Nazis and anti-vaxxers. Oh, sorry, this is my cat Malcolm. And I also wrote about how basically Twitter users were now subject to Elon Musk's arbitrary whims. So naturally, I was one of the 8 journalists that he decided to permanently suspend from Twitter because he didn't like my speech. But then a few days later, after posting a Twitter poll, he changed his mind and unbanned me. But I was still locked out of my account until I deleted the tweet that the billionaire didn't like.
I'm going to fast forward. He's telling you.
Really excited about Tesla takedown. We're a nonviolent grassroots protest movement that's focused on an actual winnable strategy to bring down Elon Musk. If we kill the Tesla brand, if we drive down the stock price low enough, we can force him to sell his stock to pay back the billions of dollars of debt that he took on to buy Twitter. This will drive Tesla stock into a death spiral.
So then he goes on to say, if you're going to vandalize a Cybertruck, write blank Nazis or draw a male genitalia or something. Don't put more swastikas into the world.
So they are promoting the vandalism of Teslas?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these websites encourage Tesla's hate and destruction of property. You can scroll down. On social media, I've seen photos of Cybertrucks that are vandalized with swastikas. Please don't draw them, even if you're trying to make a point. If you're going to vandalize, write F Nazis. So then you have Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. She spoke to them.
I'll make sure that I keep it short, but I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes.
Oh my.
So this is a really
weird.
Yeah, I'm like, are you guys...
Elon retweeted that and was like, wow.
You guys want to make him a martyr? Because then the all the other thinking people who would maybe be able to call him out can't, now you have to call you guys out because you're insane, right? You're insane. It's like the whole Black Lives Matter movement again. You're not making any sense. You could just let Tesla's stock fall on its own, which it was, and since December, the stock went from like $450 to 252. Like it's dropped 42% since December.
So do you have to vandalize? Like, why can't you just like erect a sign?
No, and here's the thing:
they're
just
put a sign out.
They're randomly vandalizing just Tesla car owners, which is a really bad move.
Well, no, the one was at a dealership, obviously.
No, but they are other just random Tesla people. Because most Tesla people are lefties.
I know.
You're actually
eating your own.
Yeah, eating your own there because it's not a Republican thing. You can, I don't know if you want to play. This is several vehicles set on fire in Las Vegas.
Okay.
think I've got another one where they were.
Well, we kind of saw that a little bit with the press conference, but I can still show it again. So apparently this was at like almost 3 a.m. that this happened. Somebody, knowing that they don't want to go to jail. Somehow they still manage to find these people, and I don't know how they do it, but they do.
So one of the big things is that, and when you're done, I want you to try to find this one.
Okay.
One of the big things that I find really incredibly disturbing is Trump is promoting Tesla, trying to get people to buy Teslas. Then our Commerce Secretary went on Fox News encouraging people to buy Teslas. And then Donald Trump bought Donald Trump Jr.'s daughter, Kai Trump.
Not daughter. Donald Trump Jr.'s
Donald
daughter.
Trump
Yeah.
Jr.'s daughter.
Yes.
Donald Trump bought his granddaughter a Cybertruck, and she's so excited because Elon wanted to make sure she got the not yet released Beast Cybertruck.
I'm gonna win. Watch this.
Oh shit. Yep, that was fast. I don't know.
That was. So Elon got this one for me because they didn't make it at the time. My grandpa got me one. He got me the souped up version. So it's 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds, which is insane.
Oh, is this 2.6 seconds?
2.6.
Oh yeah, then you beat me to 0 to 60 for sure.
So my dad's is, I think his car's 3.2 seconds or whatever. Smoked him. I'm gonna win.
Oh my.
So there is a big push because the left is pulling away. Senator Mark Kelly is trading his in. He's on the left. And so there's this big swap happening right now.
I'm telling you, it's like they have these conversations wait, how can we convince the right to do what we want them to do?
Mm-hmm.
We have to tell them that we hate it. And if we hate it, then they're going to love it. It's all a bunch of brainwashing. Please, if any of my viewers, and I cannot even imagine any of our listeners, first of all, most of you don't have the money to buy a Tesla. But if you do, go and get gold instead. Please. Do not do it.
They're actually not that super expensive.
Are they not? They used to be.
No, they're between 30 and 60.
Oh, you're kidding.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I think. Oh,
they're not even. They're not even good-looking cars, by the way.
People who drive them, unfortunately, I'm not. You can say that, and it's fine. But people, the Tesla drivers in the comments were all like, "It's the best car I ever drove." They got all the stuff, and I guess some guy keyed.
I probably closed it out already.
Okay.
What article is it? High Speed Justice?
No, it's. Is it? Yeah, High Speed Justice.
All right, I got it. Still.
So all these people are getting their cars keyed
by probably their own. This is what I'm saying. This is like being a part of the mob. At some point, they're going to kill you.
This thing called Sentry Mode has already helped many Tesla vehicle owners capture vandals in the act. San Jose police arrested this man who was recorded keying a Tesla in a Costco parking lot.
What's the Sentry Mode?
I guess it records things around your car when nobody is there.
Oh, dear.
And if you scroll down, there's another guy.
I literally cannot even imagine doing this. What? Is he throwing excrement on the car?
I guess so. And then this one, another radical leftist was caught. Oh, that was the excrement. I think there was another keyed car.
Okay.
So. Yep, that's what's happening over there.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see. I think I'm gonna close that one out. John Cusack is now saying that Musk is literally killing people.
By how?
He says he twice made the Sieg Heil Nazi salute and is literally killing people by helping cut government spending.
But how is the government spending cuts?
It's killing people.
Literally killing people, though.
It's just going to do it.
Leah.
It just is.
I can't with these people.
Yeah. When Hollywood stars talk about cutting spending, I don't really think about them. I don't think that they mean what they say they mean. Maritime industry warns the USTR's China port fees could sink the U.S. economy. Major maritime industry stakeholders are voicing strong opposition to the U.S. Trade Representative's proposed Section 301 actions targeting Chinese-built and operated vessels, warning of potentially catastrophic effects on the U.S. trade and consumer prices. The USTR's proposed measures aim to counter China's growing dominance in maritime sectors by imposing port entrance fees of up to $1.5 million on Chinese-built ships and operators, while promoting U.S. vessel usage. A public hearing is scheduled for March 24th, 2025. A public comment period is also currently open, giving industry stakeholders a chance to voice their opinion on the proposed measures. The Atlantic Container Line, a specialized carrier, projects dramatic cost increases. Export container rates could surge from $500 to $2,500, while import rates could jump from $2,500 to $4,500. ACL warns they would be forced to terminate its U.S. service and close the American offices. I don't know what's going to happen here. I just know that a lot of key pieces are being moved in our economy, and you and I are just trying to get up and feed our families and make sure our
this goes
bills are paid, and these guys are playing Russian roulette with our economy.
I'm actually not, again, kind of with the tariffs. The port entry fees are in kind of the same grouping as the tariffs, okay? So I'm not so much against them. When Trump says that it's going to be painful, you guys need to know it's going to be painful. And this goes back to the word that we had a couple of weeks ago that we gave you on a Friday show. And I was like, listen, the other shoe to drop not only is going to be an economic collapse, but people manifesting demons for multiple reasons. But one of those is going to be when you touch people's finances, they will like go crazy. Okay, like demonically crazy. I want to read the last bit of this that Leah didn't read. The East Coast stevedore company warns that implementing the fees as written would destroy trade across the entire United States. This sentiment is echoed across the industry with particular concerns about impacts on agricultural exports, energy trade, and regional shipping services. The BIMCO, another major industry voice, warns that the fees would severely increase shipping costs, reduce U.S. trade competitiveness, harm American consumers, and disrupt global maritime supply chains without addressing China's underlying policies. Now, the reason why I read that is not fear-mongering, and it's actually not to disagree with the action of having these fees for the ports. It's to tell you guys the economic collapse is coming. If you are left holding dollar bills, you will be left holding the bag. If you are left holding a 401k, if you are left holding anything anything that it has its basis in dollar bills, okay? Inflation is going to, you think it hurts now? Again, this isn't fear-mongering. This is what I've said time and time again. If you don't have any money, you're like us, like this, I got what I got, you're good, okay? I can't make any promises, but what I'm saying is those of you that are still holding out, you can't let go of those dollars. You think if you just squeeze onto them and hold on to them that everything's going to be okay. There's a reason why those holding debt, in a hyperinflationary circumstance, wages will rise. They will not rise to meet inflation, but they will rise some. So then your debt actually is reduced, right? You've got more money to pay back something that's now been what is the word that I'm looking for? Diluted. Okay. So if debts are going to get diluted, then that means that your paper dollars that you're holding on to is going to be diluted. So again, I cannot emphasize enough. If you have these paper dollars, if you have these retirement accounts, please go to resistancechicks.com/God's money /God's money and schedule your call with Zhang Enterprises like yesterday. Okay. I can't emphasize it enough. We were pushing this for 8 years before we were partnered with these kind of companies. We were pushing it because we want you guys to have your wealth preserved if at all possible. Now, if you don't want to get gold, put it into something. Get some land, get some, whatever. Okay, now, I said this the other day and I'm going to keep saying it. It's really important. If you're going to need paper money to live off of, hang on to it. Okay, I'm talking about the people that have an excess. Okay. If you have an excess and you're hanging on to it and you're sitting on it, you're like, I just got to hang on to this. Dude, I'm telling you.
So this particular article, I wanted to give you another person's perspective. They are Bitcoiners and they're excited that, you could be on the ground. You could hit the ground running if you were buying Bitcoin, but the controlled unwind and the new Bretton Woods with Bitcoin. For over a century, The global financial system has been increasingly built on papered over leverage, fiat expansion, debt-based currency, and financial engineering. Since 1913, governments, financial institutions, and central banks have systematically distorted money in markets, creating an unsustainable system of derivatives, credit expansion, and hidden leverage. That's the state of the system today. We are witnessing the tough decisions required to begin to the great unwind. I truly believe that Trump knows that we're headed to a financial collapse, and I think he's trying to stop it. And you guys really need to see our interview on Monday night with Jared Griffin, because he's going to tell you what's happening. A shift back to sound money, don't think that can happen, but this is what the article says. A purge of systematic leverage and the restructuring of the monetary order, if controlled. You can't control a fire or wildfire. This transition will be painful but orderly. If not, we risk the chaotic collapse akin to 1929 or 2008. The key players in this transition are Trump and Scott Bassinet, the gay guy, who he's not getting any special kudos from God.
And there's a spiritual aspect to all of this. And so for anybody saying Trump's going to handle it, in order for God to put this, like, you really couldn't put a more larger warning sign on this than putting Scott Bassinet in charge of this. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm telling you, God is not going to bless this. Mm-hmm. Keep going.
Who have both signaled a shift back to sound money. Scott Bassinet also says that he believes all the gold is in Fort Knox and laughed at us. But they simply cannot declare a return to gold-backed dollar overnight, and they can't do it. There's not enough gold to back the dollar, as many as they have printed fakely. Doing so would implode the current system immediately. Instead, they appear to be executing a multi-step plan to transition the U.S. financial system away from the fiat-based leverage and back toward a structure rooted in gold, commodities, and Bitcoin. That is a fantasy. The end of fiat and the derivative system. For more than a century, the world has been built on leveraged financial claims that far exceeded the actual underlying assets. Gold is the hidden anchor of the system, yet governments and central banks, that's have deliberately suppressed its price through paper derivatives.
Rehypothecation.
I'm going.
Sometimes you skip words you can't pronounce.
And Treasury market, I do, but I'm skipping ahead. Supposedly risk-free is now the most fragile part of the financial system, with debt levels soaring beyond sustainability. Why now? So we do know that foreign buyers have all but stopped buying, accumulating U.S. treasuries, a clear sign of the de-dollarization. Okay, if they stop buying our treasuries, they start buying our debt, and thinks that the dollar starts to crash. You've seen this chart down here. Russia has been growing its international reserves in recent years in gold. Let's see, is that U.S. dollars or is that gold?
It's U.S. dollars.
Trump and Bassinet appear to be signaling the end of the fiat leverage, a return to a more sustainable monetary system. The purpose of this move to send a clear signal to smart money that the system is shifting, pushing intelligent investors to exit paper holdings. The LMBA and the COMEX physical shortages, we've talked about that. That's being able to get the gold that you have purchased on the stock market and actually have it on delivery.
Can I read this tweet?
Sure.
The gold clearing banks of London's precious metals clearing have exhausted the metal they have available for delivery in their own vaults.
This was February 6th.
So they are trying to borrow as much gold as possible via the gold lending market at the Bank of England, but this looks exhausted too. These clearing banks, JP Morgan, HSBC, UBS, and ICBC Standard, need to keep gold in their vaults for their own local London liquidity, but it looks like they don't have any more gold to do this. Counterparty risk has therefore risen between all of the LBMA bullion banks, which trade unallocated, quote, gold credit between each other. The clearers, the market makers, and all other LBMA bullion banks and brokers and traders, about 50 plus entities. Basically, they trade per paper claims on gold or the electronic equivalent. These claims are now trading at a discount to reflect the fact that they can't be converted at will into physical due to a lack of availability of sufficient local London physical gold. I'm telling you, there's going to be a run on this stuff. It's already happening.
Says that gold is being revalued quietly. The price of gold is rising without triggering panic, suggesting strategic positioning before a formal acknowledgement of gold's role in the financial system. Let's see, I wanted to bring down early exiters moving into Bitcoin. Is this the 1930s gold rush replay? So during the crash of 29, really smart people put their money in gold. Well, then all FDR did was just confiscate people's gold, and it made it illegal to hold it. Worst case, Bitcoin is serving as the next central bank liquidity tool. Best case, Bitcoin is serving as an escape hatch, allowing early movers to front run the financial system reset. The unavoidable market collapse and new Bretton Woods. At some point, the tough decisions will lead to a financial crisis that will pop the everything bubble we've pumped full of air. The treasury market unwinds and leverage will be purged. After the carnage, the foundations will have been laid and the new global monetary system announced, a modern Bretton Woods 2.0. If the U.S. does launch a sovereign wealth fund, it will likely include Bitcoin as part of its new reserve framework. A multi-reserve structure is likely where nations hold gold, Bitcoin, and commodities as settlement assets. Key risks to watch: the Fed and Treasury losing control of the unwind, leading to chaotic deleveraging and rampant inflation. Foreign actors, China, Russia, BRICS, and their positioning for a role in the new global order. Market participants panicking too early, creating a domino effect of collapses. So key takeaways: the fiat and derivative systems is mathematically unsustainable. Trump, Bassinet, Doge, Elon are positioning for return to sound money. Gold accumulation and market signals are the first signals. The FICC centralization could trigger a leverage purge when implemented sometime this year, maybe. And Bitcoin will be seen as a liquidity tool or an escape valve for early movers. A new Bretton Woods will emerge. Will it feature Bitcoin and gold? I truly believe the Bitcoiners and the cryptocurrency people are very much excited about Bitcoin. They only mention Bitcoin because there's 22 million of them, and supposedly there can't be any more. We have heard that before. We have been told there's only so many US dollars. They just make more dollars. Well, you can't make more Bitcoin. You can do whatever you want to do. And I will tell you this: BlackRock, Vanguard, all the financial institutions, they have now moved into Bitcoin, into the digital currency. And Trump's family is looking to get in on it. They would like to purchase Binance, which is a clearinghouse for cryptocurrencies. Now remember, the Bitcoiners and the cryptocurrency people, they put up Bitcoin as their standard. But as we've seen, there are others that are created, Ethereum, okay, and they want all of the fake digital currencies to be able to be traded. And at that point, you're literally creating, and let me explain something to you. Bitcoin is a nothing that was created. Your 22 million Bitcoin, what are they? Who created them? Where'd they come from? You can't say this random guy created 22 million things, then called it currency, and now it's currency, and it's a thing.
So I want to make a prediction here on the show. I don't have a problem doing this. Now, I'm not saying this is 100% going to happen. I'm going to say that this is an option. I think that Donald Trump has always loved the idea of sound money. I think, unfortunately, he knows that it's not really doable for our nation. So I think that he's going to try to come up with a combination, which again won't work, but I think this is what he's going to try, which will have some sort of gold-backed currency in addition to getting people to move to digital currencies. I think that he wants to see something dual, so that it can appease the sound money people, and but the only thing that will work for like the Federal Reserve or anything, for people to be able to get loans, which Donald Trump lives off of, by the way, when it comes to real estate, you have to be able to get loans. You have to be able to buy everything on credit. Our nation does everything on credit. We don't actually own anything. We don't have anything to send. We have no money. America is beyond bankrupt, okay? So I think that Donald Trump's plan is to dump our debt into the dollar. And what I mean by that is we are trillions and trillions of dollars in debt, okay? To other nations, by the way. I think that the plan is to take us into a hyperinflation by the Fed printing more dollars to give to the U.S. government to pay these loans to other countries, okay, and just get them off of our books. Just print the dollars and give them to other nations. Modern monetary theory. If we can just print as many dollars as we want and people can live off that. That will tank the dollar. I mean, it will just absolutely, I think at some point something is going to happen that's going to trigger, obviously, you'll see Trump come out. It'll be like a COVID day, like the day that COVID was really declared. It'll be really, really serious. Like in 2008. Okay, this is just my prediction. I'm not saying 100% this is going to happen, but it's at least a plausible prediction. Something big will happen, but Trump will already have a plan, and the plan is to then take the hyperinflationary state and then go ahead and pay back the nation's debts, right, down to zero. And then we will start with a new currency that will probably be dual, okay? It'll be gold backed, and it'll be some sort of United States digital currency. And it will have in it, unfortunately, I believe, UBI, Universal Basic Income, where you'll get these digital cards and digital accounts and digital wallets that will be given to you from the U.S. government that you'll be able to use like food stamps to pay your bills, right? So that you can stay afloat. You can still pay your mortgage. You can still pay all your things, okay? And then where does that leave everybody else? Because your dollar is worthless. And then you're going to have all the end times Christians coming out saying it's the mark of the beast. And then they'll take it anyway. Okay. Because they don't have a choice. It'll probably be a $2,000 or $5,000 a month central bank digital currency that will be digitally based. Okay. That's my prediction of how this whole thing is going to go down. I don't actually have an upside prediction to how God's going to turn it around. But I do think that there's something along those lines that is Trump's plan, right? Take the mark of the beast, take the central bank digital currency, take the whatever it is, the United States, central bank digital currency, and you'll have this, and you'll be able to survive. You'll be able to still do all the things that you want to do. You just have to pay with this digital wallet that the government is not going to give you.
Yeah, that's true. That's what a lot of people have been saying.
But all of our debt will have been paid off, and that will be the great switch. That'll be the great heist, the great flipping.
It's going to be, something has to be very enticing.
So if you're seeing these people moving to digital currencies, I can guarantee you, and to gold, right? Then I can guarantee you then that they know that is what is going to be the safe haven. Like we saw in the Great Depression, that everybody lost their money, but it didn't just go nowhere.
Right.
People got rich off of it.
Yeah.
So who's going to get rich off of this collapse? All of these people that we just listed.
All right. So now just a bunch of random stories. We want to kind of go through the headlines this week. Lila Rose interviewed the lawyer for one of the victims, Tate victims, who's actually from Florida. So I'm going to play the little snippet from here and then kind of give you an update of where the Tates are at right now.
I promise it's not going to be a huge segment of our show. For those of you that are tired of the Tates, just hang on.
So Candace Owens, at the time she met him, acknowledged that she was aware that he was a pimp in Romania. Vivian is his first victim ever. It has now been confirmed that he sex trafficked her as a minor. Just from that victim alone, he made $1.5 million. One of the young women describes that she was threatened with her pornography being released, and that when she tried to leave, they hacked her Facebook account and put pornography on there, and her whole family saw. The problem is, like Epstein, Andrew and Tristan Tate have friends in high places. Sex trafficking is a very similar dynamic to cult dynamics. He's described brainwashing these women. He's described controlling their minds. And we see that with Yasmin and Pinkov, who said, I wouldn't leave you even if I found out you were a sex trafficker.
Similar to Carlson, the first interview that Candace does was very much a softball.
She didn't make any attempt to get Romanian documents and really press him on that. She just provided a platform for him to tell his side of the story. He acts like, oh, I said offensive things. No, you literally sold courses on how to manipulate women, how to isolate them. She becomes dependent on him, and then he pimps her out.
Recruiting girls to make TikTok videos and stealing the money. So it's really a financial crime?
No. He's charged with forming an organized crime group to sex traffic women, and he's charged with rape.
So then this week, the Tates drop a lawsuit of defamation against like 25 Twitter people.
So when you say drop, you mean bring or they let it go?
I'm sorry, they bring one.
Okay.
They bring one. They're bringing one against this guy I follow. The two guys who do most of the clips, but so there's several of them are anonymous, so there's like no way to find them.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is a UK lawyer, so that wasn't smart. All right, here. So Elon Musk says that he thinks we could have 1 million people on Mars in 20 years. And, you know, I watched this movie called Back to the Future. And I think it was the second episode where Marty McFly was on like a hoverboard and he traveled around on a hoverboard. That has yet to come into fruition, and that was from the 80s. So that was 40 years ago, and I'm not seeing people on Mars if we can't have hoverboard.
You're so funny.
This is the thing. If you can't get if you can't get a certain level of technology, if we don't have flying cars, okay, George Jetson, there's no going to Mars.
You're so funny.
And it takes years to build this up.
So you're going to need on the order of 1 million people, maybe 1 million tons of cargo.
So, but you think we could have 1 million people on Mars in 20 years?
Yes.
And what's the technology we're missing right now? When you think about 1 million people on Mars, do we have the ability to get water, to get food, to keep them safe? What do we need to make that happen?
Well, you need to recreate the entire base of industry of Earth. So, we're here at the top of a massive pyramid of industry that starts with mining a vast array of materials, those materials going through hundreds of steps of refinement.
Oh my gosh.
We grow food, obviously.
Obviously, we just grow food.
We grow trees. We make things out of the trees. You've got to build all that on Mars. And Mars is a hostile environment. It's it sometimes gets above zero on a warm summer day near the equator on Mars.
Summer day.
Really, it's quite cold.
And how do you prep for that?
Well, in the beginning, on Mars, you have to have a life support habitation module.
Right.
Like you can't just live outdoors. You can't breathe the air.
Like a dome, you think is likely?
Yeah. Glass domes type of thing.
No one wants this. Why are you even like, you know what I find this is so like satanic? Because essentially what Elon Musk is, I'm assuming...
I'm getting Ted Cruz to have a serious conversation about this.
But I'm assuming what he's trying to get us to be prepared for is that Earth doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Like there's no more Earth. Mm-hmm. And not just like Earth is inhabitable, okay? Because Mars is inhabitable. So we're not just talking about Earth being
uninhabitable.
Earth has to be gone. You understand? Because like, why not just create your little pods and your thing? If you're preparing for us not to be able to breathe on Earth, right? Are we talking about like the sun? Like, I don't even know. What is the point of all of this?
I'm not a scientist, but I do know this. You have to recreate that exact environment on Earth. And then you have to you would have to practice and test it, okay? So, this is what I love.
If your little dome, do you know how many times our pipes leak?
I know.
Your little dome gets a leak and everybody's dead, yes. Elon. Like, this is not feasible. And it's stupid. And it's not a worthy cause because it's not necessary.
What it does, though, is it keeps him relevant and keeps him in government contracts.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay? This is the biggest con. This Mars thing is a huge con.
Don't buy it.
Okay? Some people are laughing about it. What he wants, he says you have to mine a vast array of minerals. You've got to... What's the point of going to Mars, by the way? Because if Earth isn't here anymore, how are you getting there?
Do you think that there's natural resources inside of Mars, like feet down, that he's just trying to like strip
to get and come back with? Here's the thing.
That's the only thing that makes sense.
The amount of resources that you have to take from the globe to build the habitation, to build the ships to get there.
But he's talking about like literally living there, like not going there to do some work. But like to try to make it another place that people want to go and live. This is not Star Trek.
So here's the thing.
He's watched too much Star Trek.
He's watched too much Star Trek. In Star Trek, they have this beautiful, beautiful thing. And it's the fact that it's the fact that their bodies conform to almost every atmosphere. Sometimes they have to wear a little breathing mask, but other than that, the temperatures are fine. Everything's fine. You know, many of them look human. Okay. It's insane. It's just insane. And you don't get to take things off the planet. I draw the line at this. And he can't, I mean, the cobalt mining for these Teslas is bad enough. But actually taking these natural resources off of the planet
that are limited.
Speaking of taking things off the planet,
I can't. There's something more satanic about this. I'm telling you.
Oh, sure. We did have some astronauts come back from space.
Exactly.
And I think I've got it. Where's my astronauts? Well, here's just the Independent here.
The YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay.
After 9 months in space, 2 astronauts have finally returned.
Hang on, I have to turn it down.
Well, everybody was so excited because some dolphins on the test flight that was intended to last roughly 9 days. Their stay on the International Space Station was extended following issues with their spacecraft. And then dolphins came.
So, whatever this is, looks like AI.
But no, that's the landing.
No, if that's the landing, it's AI. Because that is fake. Like, I don't know what the purpose of it is, but like, that's not real.
Williams and Wilmore landed with 2 other astronauts who joined them on the space station in September. Nick Hague, NASA astronaut. Remember, they're just getting back with gravity. Aliskar Gorbunov, the Russian. And Sunita Williams. This isn't natural, guys. Barry Wilmore. Okay, here's my astronaut.
The Jesus thing.
Yeah, so these were astronauts. Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, the U.S. astronauts stranded for 9 months on the International Space Station, finally made it home on Tuesday, March 18th. They returned to Earth with 2 members of the SpaceX Crew 9 mission, NASA's Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Gorbunov, and aboard SpaceX's Dragon Freedom spacecraft.
Jesus Christ, he is working out his plan and his purposes for his glory throughout all of humanity, and how that plays into our lives is significant and important, and however that plays out, and I am content because I...
Hang on, let me refresh this page so you can actually see him talking. I don't know why this Google is freezing up on me. So I want to point something out while we're waiting for this to refresh. There were a lot of people, and I know a lot of you, I saw that looked like AI, the landing. Like, I'm not going to lie. That definitely looked like AI. But when I watched these 2 in outer space, okay, or in this clip here that I'm so sorry is that everything is frozen here. I don't know what to do about it. When I watch this clip and you see their faces, like, he looks like he's about to pop. Mm-hmm. He's like a little turnip here. Let me do this. Let's see what this will get us. To unfreeze. There we go. I think they are in outer space. Like, I genuinely believe that. However, I mean, they could be in some sort of other compressed chamber, but clearly, like, this isn't, he looks real. And his declaration of Jesus, that seems very genuine to me.
Obviously an astronaut.
So I'm going to put my money in the bag that says they are actually in space. Now, whether we land on the moon
Well, he
is another
was in
story.
space. Now
but
he's home.
You know what I'm saying?
We're all the product of our life experiences, and this extended business trip of yours certainly qualifies. What is your life lesson or takeaway from these 9 months in space?
Well, in answer to your question, I can tell you honestly, my feeling on all of this goes back to my faith. It's bound in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He is working out his plan and his purposes for his glory throughout all of humanity, and how that plays into our lives is significant and important. And however that plays out, and I am content because I understand that. I understand that he's at work in all things. Some things are for the good. Go to Hebrews chapter 11. Some things look to us to be not so good, but it's all working out for his good for those that will believe. And that's the answer. So thanks for asking.
We're all the product.
That seems so genuine to me. Like, I'm sorry. Anything else, I can't answer for you, but that definitely seemed incredibly genuine to me. That's what I got.
Yep. All right. So, breaking here, a disabled veteran who was awarded 2 Bronze Stars and a Purple Heart is being threatened by his bank to pay a mortgage on a home that was completely destroyed during the hurricane. The bank is now harassing him and threatening to kick him off of his property. You would think you'd get a little extra time here.
Helene hit, floodwaters washed away everything here on your property?
Yes.
Where was your house?
Right here.
The foundation.
I want to make sure we're actually screen sharing. It might not be. 1 second. Oh, y'all missed the whole thing. You missed the.
Oh,
you,
the
have to, you
astronaut.
didn't see it. Sorry, you missed the astronaut guy's face. Wait, I want you to see his face. Where were we over there on the astronaut? Okay, here we go. Here's his face. You can kind of see it. There it is right there. I wanted you to see he looked very genuine. I'm sorry we weren't actually screen sharing there. My apologies. I thought we were. All right, let's go over here.
When Hurricane Helene hit, floodwaters washed away everything here on your property?
Yes.
Where was your house?
Right here.
The foundation is all that's left of Gary Mooneyham's home. Before the storm last fall, other houses surrounded his property.
I watched the house across the road from me wash away first, and I didn't expect it to come no further.
The now calm Nolichucky River was angry the morning of September 27th as Gary sipped coffee on his back porch.
Emergency response guys walked up. They said, you need to get dressed and come on. I said, what do you mean come on? I ain't going nowhere. I said, I ain't leaving my property. He said, oh, yeah, you are. I said, no, I ain't. He said, don't make me haul you out of here. Well,
Gary left, then returned a few weeks later, recording this video.
this is October the 19th. This is what's left of my property. I mean, everything's gone. This whole neighborhood's devastated. It ain't no more. It's gone.
Water from the Nolichucky rose nearly 25 feet and sliced a path of destruction through his community.
I never expected anything like this. Nobody else did either.
For nearly half a mile, the once tree-lined area along Bill Mock Road has disappeared. The storm took everything with it.
It was woods. There was campsites. The road went right through here.
This is Bill Mock Road today. It used to run in front of Gary's home, but was washed away. The Bill Mock Bridge over the Nolichucky disappeared. So did the State Highway 353 bridge. It's now being rebuilt. Gary says 15 homes went down the river last September.
That's the front of my house. That's the front of my property.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah, that's from out there at the road.
Gary bought his 2-bedroom, 2-bath house in April of 2017.
Your home was elevated?
Yes, sir.
Was it in a flood zone?
No, sir. VA does not give mortgages on flood zones.
And you bought your home through?
The VA. This is a VA home loan.
Today, his homeowner's insurance company won't cover the loss.
What?
Farm Bureau writes water damage is excluded. FEMA cut Gary a check for $43,600, which he used to buy a small camper trailer. However, he was hoping more from the government.
I was asking for help on my mortgage and everything because I still owe $85,000 on this patch of dirt right here.
Now, Freedom Mortgage is after him since he stopped his monthly payments.
And they want their mortgage payments. They still want their money, but I'm not giving it to them because I ain't got nothing to give for.
He's behind more than $3,200 in his mortgage and does not plan to make it up.
But I told him, I said, you come up here and build my house back or help me get it built back and I'll start paying a mortgage again. Or I said, go to foreclosure.
Gary is a 100% disabled Vietnam veteran. He's a decorated vet, earning 2 Bronze Stars for Valor and a Purple Heart. His ribbons, like his home, were lost in the flood.
I would like that mortgage company to have some heart and soul and realize, you know, the condition and the shape that I'm in and help me.
He doesn't know how many of his neighbors will want to rebuild, but he does.
I want my home back so I can die in peace. I thought I was going to live to die here. I never expected anything like this. I thought this was my last place until I leave this world.
No. That's devastating.
Yeah, so that's very sad. But the good news is, and I hope that others reach out to him because there are a lot of people helping to build. So here we have hundreds of college students from across the country are using their spring break to rebuild homes in Western North Carolina. And I just think that that is amazing. And maybe his house can be built and he can finish paying his mortgage on the new really built house that somebody helps to voluntarily build.
Their spring break hard at work in Western North Carolina, helping people rebuild.
I can't imagine what these people went through with having everything they had just lost in the blink of an eye without any control of theirs.
They're part of a ministry you can find on multiple college campuses called Chi Alpha.
A friend of mine just talked to me about coming up and helping out with the disaster relief, and so I was like, okay, let's go.
And they're working alongside nonprofits like Building Compassion to help folks however they need.
Got other teams that are down closer to the river bottoms, and they're literally doing all kinds of different work, from standing up retaining walls that got undermined to rebuilding trailer homes and stuff. Just whatever the community needs is what we're here to do.
And her house was flooded. Her whole basement was flooded, and then up to the second floor was flooded 4 feet up. And so basically we just had to pull up her flooring and rip down her walls.
It's all been worth it to see the tangible relief they've given to the people they've helped.
Some people, when we were helping at their houses, they came out and gave us hugs, and just seeing how thankful they were and just hearing the stories of how we were able to make other people's lives easier.
I'm just glad that I could be a service to somebody who needs it, because if I was in the same position, I'd really like it if somebody were to help me as well.
And this group will be here through the end of this week before being replaced by a fresh group of students starting next.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know what? If every college campus sent a group of kids every week, we could really get all the houses rebuilt. Why not?
Make sure they send people that actually like to work.
Well, sure they will. I'm sure they will. I want to play this here from Harriet Hagman. She says this is about the RFDI chips that they want to ear tag cattle with. That it's on more towards the left. That actually Thomas Massey was raising. It's to the right of that. Keep going to the right. Keep going. Keep going. There it is.
I said, a ranching community. I grew up on a ranch. The USDA for several years has been trying to force our cattle and bison producers to use what are called RFID or EID ear tags, electronic identification ear tags. They want to chip them all. And I've been fighting against this, and they say it's for disease traceability. If there's a brucellosis outbreak or hoof and mouth disease, we've got to know that immediately so we can isolate that animal, and et cetera. We have the very best disease traceability program anywhere in the world in the United States. It's worked beautifully for hundreds of years. It's extremely effective. We're able to isolate animals immediately if there's an issue, despite the fact, and in addition to which we have the healthiest herds of anywhere in the world. So you look at all of that, and so you think, okay, what is this really about? And then you start looking at the countries that have implemented this. Ireland implemented it in early 2022. By August of 23, they were issuing an order that they had to slaughter 41,000 head of cattle, not because of a disease outbreak, but because of global warming. In the Netherlands, they adopted, Denmark, they adopted an EID mandate, and last year they imposed a $100 a head tax on every single head of cattle in the country, not because of a disease outbreak, because of global warming. So what you start seeing is how they use this information. This is a $1.2 to $1.9 billion tax on the cattle industry if it's actually implemented 100%.
Oh, it's so terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely, we don't want this. We do not want that.
And like I said earlier, every single time they go to do something that even in modicum terms, it seems like it might be okay. Mm-hmm. It might be okay to do this. It might be a worthy cause. They're always going to use it to turn it around to do something else that you don't want them to do. I want to take a minute and close some of these out so I can be caught up with you. Because here I am looking at the idea that they want to, anytime that they want to, you talk about like gun confiscations or things like that. Close out some of these tabs.
Yeah.
It is never about the reason why they're telling you that they're doing it.
Maine.
No, you're on Maine.
I hit the screen share next.
Oh, okay. It's never about the reason why they're telling you that they're going to do it. They want to do these ear tags, and it seems so far-fetched that then they would use it to cull herds based on global warming, but that's exactly what they do. And so, I think about Mark Baker and even Joel Salatin, especially Mark Baker of Baker's Green Acres. He always tells you, don't sign up for their programs. Don't, as soon as you do, they will start taking everything from you because you signed on the dotted line.
Right.
Okay. So unfortunately, if you got to join to be a part of the American Cattle Association and all these different things, I'm like, guys, everything needs to be small. I understand that people want to do giant, large cattle industries. Like you want to support those guys. But at the same time, it's like when you become a small herd, and you do things on a small scale and you don't try to get so greedy so that you're so big, whether, all of that's when they can control you because you've signed on the dotted line. At that point, I don't feel sorry for you.
All right. Well,
you're still screen sharing.
Harriet Hagman. I'm sorry. Oh, I hit screen share. I told you I thought I was trying to get out of it and I actually hit it. So you guys saw me cutting out all those tabs there. The Department of Education is laundering money back to the Democrat Party. This is Harriet Hagman, a good clip on a good reason why we shut down the program
targeted at these bureaucrats.
Yes.
And so what can you expect?
Well, let's look at the Department of Education. The Federal Department of Education has a budget of about $280 billion a year. Less than 25% goes to educating our students. So where does the other 220 billion, a different consultant, and then it goes to an engineer. So the brilliance of Doge isn't that he's going in and cutting spending. He doesn't have the authority to do that. We're the ones that have the authority to do that. What I want him to do is come up with a report, go through agency by agency by agency, identify every single program that we should not be funding, put a number attached to it. We slap a preamble on the front of that report, and we say that every single agency is having their budget cut by X amount as shown in the attached report, and none of those programs can go forward from here on out.
And this is why Democrats are losing.
Is seizing the power that belongs to the American people. We are here to fight back.
Yeah, that's
girl's got an anger
embarrassing.
issue.
God bless Representative Harriet Hagman from Wyoming. God bless you and your family. Catch you on the next one.
That's awesome.
All right. Doctor reveals the benefits of adding just... my mom just put in the eggs. Chickens lay one egg a day. The doctors reveals the benefits of adding just one egg to your child's health.
Oh, that's awesome.
One egg a day.
I've seen this. It's so good.
They gave some of these kids one egg a day. One extra egg a day. Just one egg. Right. And they followed these guys for over a year. And they found that the ones who got the egg increased their IQ by 15 points on average. What? Just one egg a day. At least one egg a day. This is really important to your kid's development. That's how vital and important animal nutrition is, and animal source nutrients and fat and protein are. And the bioavailability is all there. Like an egg is a perfect protein. It has all the proteins that you need in the exact proportion that you need them. It has all the fat and cholesterol that you need because that's all the nutrients that you need to grow a new animal life, right? It's all right there, all packaged.
Okay, so I want to encourage you guys, because even Red in the chat was like, dude, I'm waiting for the prices of eggs to go down. So I'm thinking about getting some chickens. And then that's when Patriot Gallery was talking about, you know, how chickens produce roughly 1 egg a day, except for in winter.
Yeah.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, or one of our more recent broadcasts, about you don't get chickens to save money. You get chickens because it's good to be independent and have that source of protein coming in every single day. Think about it. During World War II, regardless of how you feel about what it was, they were asking people to keep not just Patriot gardens, but Patriot chicken coops. They wanted chickens on every tiny little postage stamp because they knew that it was
chickens in little cages outside of apartment windows.
Which I don't recommend.
I know, but that's
embrace the chickenness of the chicken. So I'm just saying, like, those of you that are, I even saw a comment the other day, like, chickens are messy. I'm like, I'm going to be honest. I don't get this vulnerable on the show very often. Okay. This may come as a surprise to some of you. All right. I don't like to be dirty. I don't like to get dirty. Okay. I don't like it. I prefer to wake up and put on my clean little white perfect socks and my clean perfect gym shoes and put on my clean perfect clothes. And I would like to remain that for the rest of the day. I don't like dirt in my toes. I don't like to be dirty. Okay? I get it. And sometimes when we do a lot of resistance chicks, I get to live that life. But it's wrong. It's wrong. I'm telling you, it is wrong. It is wrong to not come in at the end of the day and have to clean your feet because the dirt got between your toes from your gym shoes or your boots.
You should actually have to wash your clothes.
You should have to clean yourself at the end of every single day, not because of your body odor, but that too, but because of dirt. You should have been doing things that get you dirty you should not be able to wear the same clothes day after day because they didn't get, quote unquote, dirty. Okay, you should come in at the end of the day and your clothes are dirty and your mom should say, don't walk upstairs or don't come into my house. That is living. Don't give me this. Chickens are messy.
So I want to play this.
Eating food requires something. Both with animals and vegetables, which is what all food consists of. You know what they have in common? Earth. So you're gonna get dirty if you want to eat. It is wrong of you to want to be like me. So I'm gonna tell you, I live a dual life. And Leah can tell you this. I have a complete personality change when I put on my overalls and boots. I become a different human being because I have to. Because I have to become different Michelle in order to embrace the dirt. Okay? And you should. And if you have to put on a different personality hat to be dirty.
So I'm going to tell you guys something funny about myself. I have to put on a different personality to put nice clothes on.
It's so true. I'm like, Leah.
I do. So I'll give you guys a little inside baseball. In the summer, when it starts to get a little bit warmer, I may go outside to let the chickens out or feed the pigs or let some dogs out in my pajamas, just like some boxer shorts and a t-shirt. And I
cue all the people that want to marry Leah driving by the house in the morning now.
Oftentimes will just stay outside and do a project for 2 or 3 hours. Just stay outside. I'm like, roll out of bed and I find a project. And that's actually the best way for me to wake up is like, I found this project. But here's the problem for me. Sometimes I'm not motivated to put on real clothes. So I'm actually sometimes more motivated to go outside in my pajamas and work than to take all the time.
I'm a complete opposite. I got to put an outfit on. I'm putting on the overalls.
As soon as I do that, then I get stuck back inside. Now,
But Shauna says this, and then we'll get back to the news. She says, it's a great feeling to work hard like that. There is no satisfaction having spent all day outside. That's what we used to do all the time. Prior to Resistance Chicks, by the way. I was outside really from the time I woke up until the time I went to bed. I miss those days. I want to go back to those days, but instead, a lot of times I'm spending 3 or 4 hours doing a show and a couple hours getting ready for the show. And so it's difficult for me to live a life of duality. Okay, let's keep going.
So I'm going to play this video. This is why we raise our own chickens, because I don't want my chickens dunked in chlorine.
Oh, no. It's so vile.
USA chicken has been banned in the EU since 1997.
And why?
Because we dunk it in chlorine.
Because it's chemical laden. This is why you need to raise your own chickens. Oh, my gosh.
Natural, fresh.
Stop.
Did you know that USA chicken has been banned in the EU since 1997? Why would they do that? It's because of this. See where it says up to 6% retained water or up to 7% retained water? That means after these chickens are slaughtered, they're dunked in a chlorinated chemical bath to cool them down and to disinfect them. And the EU considers this a sign of poor hygiene behavior in the supply chain. And to make matters even worse, if 7% of this is retained water in my chicken, what am I paying for? Water weight. So how do we avoid the chlorinated water bath and the water weight? Look to buy air-chilled chicken, which sadly this grocery store has none of. That means after slaughter, the chickens are hung in a huge walk-in refrigerator and skip the chemical bath. Keep in mind, there are purveyors that do water chill only using ice water, but you're still paying for water weight. If you want a deep dive on all things chicken, I posted a reel the other day that really tells you the difference between conventional meat chicken and high quality Bobby approved chicken. You might want to watch it.
Okay, so Michelle and Leah's recommendation is to find your local butcher. We did this, okay? Before we started raising our own chickens for meat, we went to our butcher where we always get a half of a beef every year. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we asked them, where can we buy chickens? We actually also asked them this was before we did our pigs. We asked them, where can we get pork? And they said, well, we've got a local farmer that will sell you half of a side of pork and, or have a pig. So we did that one year. And then we asked them, where do we get chickens? So they had a local butcher literally 10 minutes away, hole in the wall in Indiana. We drove. I called ahead of time.
We did this a few times.
And she said, how many chickens do you want? I said like 10 or 15, right? So I had to get a specific date. They butchered them. I think it was the Amish, butchered them that day.
They're Amish raised chickens.
And they came in a giant clear plastic bag. They weren't individually wrapped at all, just whole chickens. Boom. They were so cheap. All right. And they were raised by the Amish, no chlorine bath. So find yourself a local person that raises chickens, because in almost all states, chickens are legal to sell off of the farm, right? So you don't have to run into all of the red tape of having to buy a half of a hog or half of a cow. They can sell it to you. I know Mark Baker sells them. There are so many people that do this. Or find someone that you know that has some land and say, hey, would you mind if I ran a batch of 50 meat birds on your property? You run them every single day. It's super simple. It's very straightforward. And it's cheap. Like, it's cheap to do. Do you know how easy it is to build a chicken tractor? Like, it's not hard.
And if you're worried about predators, then you get a...
You get the fencing. Get the electric netting from Premier One Fencing.
I'm going to play a commercial break here.
Okay.
I got some seals here.
What?
Yep.
Not that.
Not some Navy SEALs, but just some seals.
Okay. Oh my God. Are they sunbathing?
Yeah. Well, they're just hanging out on the benches. And
where is this at?
I don't know, Florida or something.
You don't even know where it's at.
I don't even know where it's at.
Why are they up on the benches? They're not even in the sun. They're in the shade.
I know, but watch this. This is funny. So he's like, you know what? I don't want to be on the ground. I want to be here. I have dogs who act like this.
No. Leah. You know that they say that seals are just like dogs. They're like water dogs. Oh my gosh, Leah.
All right, and if you go to the video to the right, this was a very encouraging message, actually from Charlie Sheen's daughter. Now, Charlie Sheen's ex-wife, Denise Richards, is dirty, and it was very interesting. As she just came out and is doing OnlyFans with her other daughter.
No,
her other daughter's doing OnlyFans, and so Denise Richards decided to do OnlyFans too. But this daughter is coming to know Jesus.
I'm about to go on a live news show, and you're allowing me to feel these feelings. Like, what the heck? But I know that God allowed that so I could see his power in my weakest moment. That when I am weak, he is strong. So, you guys, I have to read you this verse because it's in Corinthians, I think. Let me find it. Hold on. Okay, I found it. This is Corinthians 12, 8 through 10. Okay. 3 different times I begged the Lord to take it away. Each time he said, "My grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness." So now I'm glad to boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ can work through me. That's why I take pleasure in my weaknesses and in the insults, hardships, and persecutions and troubles that I suffer for Christ, for when I am weak, then I am strong. I wrote on the side, when we suffer, we should rejoice because we get to see the power of Christ work through us. What a gift is that. Before I had Jesus, when I would get hit with depression, I would think that I'm back to square one. I'm back to where I used to be. And the Lord, now that I have Jesus and I've been walking with him through depression and he's been so patient with me, when I'm hit with a wave of depression, I feel him testing me to see if I will still trust him in those moments, and if I will still praise him the same in those moments. And so it's such a blessing for me to still experience those feelings because I get to draw, Jesus is the only strength that I have in that moment. And so it's like, he's the only strength that I have in general, but in that moment, I get to see his strength so much more because I feel so weak, and his strength is the reason why I was able to get through that day. And so it just shows, like, truly, when we are weak, he is so strong, and if we have him, we will be okay. So if you are still experiencing, thoughts of depression and anxiety and whatever it may be that you're facing, just know that if you have Jesus, you will be okay. And it's a blessing to struggle, actually, because you get to see how he works in your weakness and how he really works best when you're in your weakest moment. And so, I hope that.
Oh my gosh. Well, wasn't that a little uplifting moment? You got contrasted by you telling us that her mother is doing OnlyFans with her sister.
Yeah, they have their own separate accounts, but they're both doing it.
Right, but still, I'm just saying, like, to see.
It's gross. Yeah, and she came to know
see
Jesus. God pulled her out.
Like, well, praise God.
Yeah, so I'm going to end with this last one. This is a hearing on the prohibiting gender transition medical intervention for individuals under 18. This is a former nurse who formerly advocated for gender transitions. Then she started to see the major problems with it and spoke out.
Thank you for your testimony. Was there a moment where you used to speak one language and then you changed how you spoke and now you're speaking like you speak now? And was it the science? Was it the witness? What part changed? And then is there anything in your testimony that you wanted to say that you weren't able to say as a result of, you said there's questions that you could answer?
Thank you, Representative, for the question. Yes, I was once an absolute true believer. I trained judges within the state of Missouri around gender-affirming care. I trained all of the other divisions within the hospital setting around what is referred to as gender-affirming care. I believed wholeheartedly in this protocol. My spouse is trans, who has now walked back her transition. She was trans for 13 years. There were 3 aspects that made me come to change my mind. Number 1, this protocol itself was built on regressive stereotypes and is homophobic. The first 70 children that were put through this protocol, 68 of them were same-sex attracted. The entire DSM protocol is based on stereotypes about what sexed behavior looks like, and most gays and lesbians in childhood do not fit the mold of what regressive stereotypes look like for sexed behavior. Of the 71st children that were put through this protocol, one of them died because the protocol itself destroyed what used to be the way that we would invert an adult's penis to make it a vagina. The puberty blocker itself makes the penis not grow to the point where that child was put through a vaginoplasty that used their colon instead, and they died of a massive infection. The protocol itself is homophobic. Number two, I saw a patient population go from 4 new intakes per month of children who are mostly pre-pubertal boys to 50 to 60 new patients per month, and 80% of them were teenage girls. Guess what teenage girls have in common? They are absolutely susceptible to social contagion. This occurred right when COVID lockdowns happened, right when we stuck one of these in all of those teenagers' phones, and right when we saw all of these girls watching videos. We actually referred to it in the clinic as TikTok ticks. They literally were parroting and coming into our clinic with the exact same storyline that they learned online about what it meant to be trans. And then third and finally was that I actually harmed patients. This protocol itself physically harmed my patients to the point where I was sending children to the emergency room for emergency surgeries after they had their first sexual experience and their vaginas were ripping open.
Oh, dear God.
We removed the breast of a young woman who called us back begging to have them put on. She not only had detransitioned and was re-identifying as a woman, she was also pregnant. She also grew up in foster care, and she literally told us that part of this identity for her was a social contagion. So I absolutely had to change my mind because ethically it is the only right thing to do. And I beg my party, please do the scientific right thing. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
That was unexpected for the end of our show. So obviously she's a lesbian.
Right.
And so I actually agree, ironically, with her first statement. Okay. And it's a matter of unfolding and unpacking this whole ideology. It's a step down program, right? First, they get you to believe in the LGBT, the gay, lesbian, and bi lie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first they get you to believe in that. Right. And then they flip-flop everything. And now it's back to, well, but boys act like this and girls act like this. So if you are same-sex attracted, then one of you has to be a boy. Okay. And so it just devolves down this line. Mm-hmm. Okay. And unfortunately, well, let me not say that. What I will say is I am praying that she continues to be red-pilled as far as this being pushed on and being a contagion, okay? So more power to her. I just pray that her journey continues, but that was very, very powerful.
Yeah. It was an interesting video. I hope it's not going to get flagged or anything by YouTube, but I want to talk about the history of blood pressure numbers. Just kind of finally, if you have a loved one who's taking blood pressure medication, then maybe you should send them this link, and I'll put it in the chat.
The criteria for high blood pressure was 160/90. That's when the doctor started talking to you about your high blood pressure and whether you should take medications. There was another method of knowing if you had high blood pressure, especially as you got older.
That was in 1940.
Was the systolic number had to be 100 plus your age. So if you were 70 years old, it was perfectly acceptable to have your blood pressure 170 over something.
So he's doing the history. 1970 and normal was 160/90. 1940, it was 100 plus your age. So if you were 65, you 165. If you were 85, you 185.
As long as it was lower than that, everything was A-okay. Then, somehow, about 30-ish years ago, when I was in school, the numbers changed to when you were supposed to give someone medication. We were taught in our school that when someone had high blood pressure that was 140/90, that's when you were to send them out to their primary care doctor and have them take medication. Well, then in 2017, something happened. And that is, a study came out that said people's blood pressure should be lower than 120/80. Now, that is a pretty lofty goal. That is very low, such that almost hardly anyone can pass that. When you go into a doctor's office in the middle of the day, you've already had stress. You're already stressed about being there. Maybe you've been waiting in the waiting room too long. You've probably had coffee or some type of food prior to that appointment. Then they rush you into the room, usually put the blood pressure cuff off over a number of clothing as you're dangling there, as they're asking questions. There's a whole host of reasons why your blood pressure is going to be above 120/80. If you are above 120/80 now, you're going to get a talking to. You're going to get a little spanking, little slap on the wrist. The doctor's going to talk to you. But if you're above 130/80, now that's the criteria for medication. Now let me know what your opinion is. Is this simply corporate greed from pharmaceutical companies to lower the margins so low that almost no one can pass, and thus every one of us should be on blood pressure medication? Or are the pharmaceutical companies so altruistic that they just want to help humanity that they've made the criteria such that...
So you can pause that.
I love that he's posing it as a question.
Yeah, so just a side note, it was so funny. Michelle and I, we would do these studies, and I never really paid much attention to our blood pressure, but they would have to take it several times because our blood pressure was always way too low. And so then I learned I need to walk up the steps, like 3 flights of steps, so that
we would try to sit there and think stressful thoughts because we wanted to qualify for these research studies, and our blood pressure wasn't high enough.
But my uncle has heart issues, and he's had a couple, he actually had one heart surgery. He's had a natural bypass, and so he's, about a year ago, he stopped taking his blood pressure medication because he would pass out. He would just pass out. And so I think I told you guys in January, Uncle was supposed to go in for a knee replacement, but a week before, we went to his heart doctor. His heart doctor said, "We're just going to give you a tiny little blood pressure medication." He goes in, he hears the story about what's going to happen to his knee, and his eyes roll back in his head, and he just passes out. Like, it's really scary. And it was the day before New Year's Day, and we had to go to the emergency room, and they gave him an IV, and we talked to his doctor, and I was like, "Listen, buddy, his blood pressure ranges around like 134 to 134,
sometimes it's 125,
and he's got a normal. He's like really got a great blood pressure.
But what happens is he doesn't exercise a lot, and so when we go into the doctor's offices,
blood pressure goes up.
Like we were just there today, and his blood pressure was like 169/114, and they were, and the nurse was like, "Oh my gosh, it's really high," and I'm like, "You don't understand. This is what happens." But when we are at home, and when they put him on blood pressure medicine, he just starts passing out because he doesn't need it, because his life at home is like stress-free, whatever. And the reason why he doesn't exercise is because we need this knee replacement so his knee can be back and he can get back into moving around better.
So I wanted to encourage you guys that it hasn't always been this way with the blood pressure numbers. And if you know anybody who has higher blood pressure, it's not necessarily a sign that something is wrong or bad.
As always, consult your holistic physician. See how I threw that in there? Leah, there's a couple of cards here. Let's open. I'll open this one from Lori because I'm pretty sure it is a St. Patty's Day card that we missed for St. Patrick's Day.
It looks green.
It says, "May God's blessings shine down on you. May the Lord above look down and bless your life in large and small ways. May every happiness be yours on St. Patrick's Day and always. Hi, I hope things are well for you both. I am still having headaches yet after 3 years and 8 months from the Pfizer shedding, along with blurry and double vision." And there's a couple more personal things here. The Yale study said that they may they make spikes 709 plus days, so the shedding was so much longer. But there's a verse here: the Lord bless you and keep you, and the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. We are still praying for Lori to be healed from the shedding that she received. So
this is really cute. Birthday wishes here. Joy rises in my heart until I burst out in songs of praise to him. Psalms 28:7. Birthday wish sent just for you to bring you cheer the whole day through. Have a very happy birthday. May God continue to pour out all of his blessings on you, David and Mary Jenkins.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
Thank you so much for that card. Mom's birthday, PG, Patriot Gallery's birthday is this Sunday.
We will be doing a world news show on her birthday, so come prepared to wish her a happy birthday on her birthday. So we're super excited about that.
We got dogs, so there's nothing super special, exciting going on because we have dogs here all weekend.
But a lot of presents.
Yes.
Patriot Gallery is a new person, so she needs a whole new wardrobe, literally. She doesn't fit. She just got rid of 2 big giant bags of clothes that are too big for her.
Yes.
So we've had to buy some new clothing, and we got a bunch of stuff on the Big Lots closeout sale.
We did.
So there's a lot of birthday presents for her there. Sharon says, that is white coat syndrome. Yes, we talk about that. Blood pressure spikes at the doctor's or the dentist. Mine spikes to 149 at the dentist. At home, it's 115/70. Exactly, you know? Let's see. Red says, this filth is part of the reason I separated myself from society. So sick and tired of the filth and moral degradation. I definitely agree with you there. Sherry says this is heartbreaking. And also back to the daughter of Charlie Sheen. She says her father is Charlie Sheen, so she has a lot against her. So wonderful to see the power of Jesus. Shauna says, I can't eat meat from the grocery store anymore. I'm right there with you, you know. So last but not least, a couple of announcements before everybody goes anywhere. All right. This past week, we had with us on the, was it the Outliers? Who do we have on the Outliers? Oh, Dr. Hyder. We premiered Dr. Hyder.
That was last week.
No, that was just this past week, wasn't it?
It was my birthday. It was the day before my birthday. It's March 11th, like the week of yeah, because wasn't this last week, Monday?
Was it? What did we do for the Outliers night? We did something.
We did, the SOS.
Oh, yeah. We did do that. Tell
and
me
that
about
girl has gone everywhere.
The economic collapse.
Yeah, she was on InfoWars. She was
the
on
girl
Tim
that
Pool
you
last
and
night.
Leah, she texted
I did a
and she's
whole
like,
show on this
I was
girl
ahead of the
talking
curve.
about private equity and how they bought all this stuff up and the economy's gonna collapse, and the next thing you know, I tried to write and ask her to come on our show, and she's real busy.
Yeah, on
she was in Tim
InfoWars
Pool's
and everything.
studio last night. In studio.
Big deal. So tune into that if you missed that. Then on Tuesday night, we did a St. Patrick's Day special. You don't want to miss that.
We had 3 huge shows this week.
Then on Wednesday night, we had with us Barry Jones on literally like the day that the JFK files are breaking. We have one of the leading authorities, the author of the Treasonous Cabal, Barry Jones, on our program. It was a phenomenal show. Everybody kept saying how interesting it was.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, which you will have to wait for Monday, we interviewed G. Edward Griffin.
The one, the only.
So you can tune into that on Monday night on The Outliers. He's been on The Outliers before, but we're having him back again because it's been like almost a year since we've had him on the program. So he's 93 years old and sharp as a tack.
We wanted to get his take. I mean, we had him on before Trump was elected, before all these things happened. So
yeah, really exciting. So again, like we have Patriot Gallery's birthday. And then I wasn't going to do a promo code for St. Patrick's Day because I don't want you guys to feel pressured every time a holiday turns around. Like now we got to go support their store. But Leah, on Tuesday, when we were doing our St. Patty's Day, she said, Michelle, can we please do a sale? And I said, okay, well, fine. There is a promo code, Patrick. Yes. You can use that. Saves 10% at the shop.resistancechicks.com. And while we were going live, an order came in. Hope Sally doesn't mind. It's from Sally. And I want to tell you what she bought. And I know here's the deal. I hope this doesn't bother anybody that I tell sometimes what the orders are. But the reason why I do is because Sally has ordered from us before. And so that means that what she's ordering again, she likes. Aww. Okay. And so she's getting the Remineralize Me Extra Mint Powder. Okay. Right here. This one. The Remineralize Me Extra Mint Powder. I love this. It's so good. And she's getting 3 bars of the soap.
Awesome.
Somebody the other day bought 4. So I'm telling you, the soap is a big deal. And it's a big deal that you can even get it because it takes 6 weeks to cure. So Leah keeps trying to keep up with it, but it's like, it's hard to gauge, like making the soap and then 6 weeks and then sometimes you sell out. So that's a big deal. And then she got a deodorant.
We didn't cut that soap.
It'll be cuttable. We'll cut it. It's within the time frame of cutting the soap. So we need to cut. We're going to be signing off here and go cutting soap. So those are just a couple of things that, you know, everybody is loving. I think there's not a single product that I have come across, I think, that people don't like. But it does seem like sometimes it comes in waves. I don't know what it is about the different things that people like to order. So those are a few things. The soap is coming in a wave right now. I guess y'all want to be clean.
And we're working on the man-beard
And we're
oil.
working on the beard oil. I'm working on it every day. I've got a couple of bottles
and
out.
the male endocrine oil.
And that's good. The male endocrine oil. It'll help boost your testosterone.
Smells
and
great.
hormone system.
We found
We have found it, and the oils to make it just arrived. They're in a big box on the porch, so I still have to order the bottles, and so I'm really excited about it, and so I hope that you guys are too. And of course, when we do launch those products, we will be doing a big sale.
We just, you guys, Michelle enjoys doing it. She enjoys making the things. So if you guys are in the market for deodorant or body butter
and the eye pillows,
and the eye pillows,
I don't know what it is.
The eye pillows.
I don't know what it is about the eye pillows.
I think you need to bring down one of the. Oh yes, look, one of these with the silky ones. This is what I sleep with almost every night.
I don't know what it is
They
about them.
smell
They're like my
amazing.
favorite. I have sold so many of these over the years.
I cannot sleep without it.
I use it every single night. It helps me fall asleep. It helps with tension headaches.
Flip it.
I have gifted a lot in some packages that have come. So I'm hoping that you guys will like them. I'm trying to get them out there so that you guys can come back and say, hey, yes, I do love my eye pillow.
They smell so amazing.
Because I don't know what it is about my words may not be convincing you enough that they are as awesome as I'm saying that they are, but they really like and truly are. I sleep with mine every single night. Like it's just a thing. I multiple times a night. If it falls off, I'm putting it back on. So like I said, you can heat them in the microwave. You can cool them in the freezer. You can use one as a cold on your eyes and a warm one on your neck to help with tension headaches. It loosens all these muscles that go through your head. I am digging it, and I've got a multi-purchase sale. So the more you buy, the more you save over on shop.resistancechicks.com. And for the next 2 days, I think it's until Tuesday night, I guess, midnight, whatever, you can use promo code Patrick and it'll save you 10%. But that is not to pressure you to go and buy this stuff. It's just because Leah wants to do sales for. But it's not one that I've
I
advertised
think it's
for.
great. I think it's
You have to actually watch our show to the end to find out, because I didn't put it out anywhere. It's just for those of you that watch the show. All right. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. We love you guys. God loves you. God bless. We'll see you next time right here from ResistanceChicks.com. God bless.